Okay, before I introduce Rob, I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then I'll introduce him. Some of you know him, some of you don't, so I'll talk about him a little bit.
It's all right.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time, Lord. Thank you for the people who have interest in your church. Pray, Father, that you will speak through Robin, that you'll be with us, that we'll be able to learn more about how to set a vision to grow this church, Lord, to reach those who don't know you. Pray, Father, that you'll be with us in everything we say and do, and that you'll protect us tonight. And ask that you be with Robin as he travels home, Lord, that you'll protect him as well. I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so this is Robin Sigars. He was a senior minister here for about 18 months or so, back in early 90s. He left us to go to CIY, so the kids took him away from us. He was there for a couple, 20 years or so?
17 years.
17 years. He's now the senior pastor at Carterville Christian Church in Carterville, Missouri. And they have been growing quite dramatically the last 10 years. And we asked him, you know, it's kind of like when the three of us talked about how do you set a vision and do some things. It's like, well, let's draw on some experience and people who had success. So, got a hold of Robin and David, and so they're both here tonight, which is great. And so I'm just going to turn it over to Robin and let him go with it.
Amen.
Thank you. And it is good to be back here. I just say that, to be back with you. It's wonderful. I was here for a funeral and got to see. I mean, to me, I always walk in and look at the building and see what you've done to it. And, it's really wonderful. It doesn't quite look like it did back in 1990 where you stood up front and you thought you were looking down the barrel of a shotgun. It seemed like it went forever. It doesn't seem that way anymore. Wonderful lights and what you're doing on the stage and everything. It is, that's tremendous. Very, very proud of you for that. I want to share with you tonight Carterville Christian Church, which I ran into Dave's son yesterday at McDonald's. Neither one of us were eating there. We're Christians. But he was getting a sweet tea, and I was getting a cherry limeade. And, he stood there beside me, and he said, "Now, are you still at Carterville?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, we're still there. We're really growing." And I got to share with him. He had gone to church there in the old building, downtown Bartlesville. Goodman building, that kind of the same way that we'll share some of the history of that, getting down there to get to where we are right now. We just be able to talk to him a little bit. He was excited that we'll come over here. His dad's been speaking, and he'll be able to share with you on what has happened at Carterville over the past 10 years. It's been amazing to be able to see and to be involved in that, to be able to document that and walk along with that, and to realize what right now we are planning as we get started when kids get back in school in September, what we're planning to be able to do then, to be able to do more with what we're doing. We all know the business definition of insanity. The business definition of insanity is simply this: doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results every time.
Amen.
And you are people that are in business, and you know that. That if you have a failure, but you say, let's back up and let's decide, you go through the same points to do it again, you work everything the same way again, and you see failure. And you just back up, and you say, okay, we're going to do that again, you do all the points again, and you do it all over again, and you see failure. After a while, you get so used to backing up and doing all the same points again, you forget that it's failure every time. You begin to look back and to see, where has this failure come from? What is going on? Now, I really say, it's the business definition, but I've been able to be around enough churches for 17 years to see how I did a lot of traveling. Be able to come to places like Carterville and be able to speak. One of the things that I really stressed was I didn't want to just go speak to youth groups. I wanted to be able to speak to churches. I wanted to be able to come in and listen, to elders and ministers talk about their church, be able to look at their community, understand their demographics, and then just go, here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to say. And you need to change some things. And so that's what I want to talk to you about is you really right now be able to sit down and talk to Rod a couple times, and the elders came over to Bartlesville. I did that at supper. They came over to Carterville, and we showed them through our building and told them the history of the building that they were in, that was built back in about 2001. and how it looked before they got there, how it looked when I got there, what was it all about back then, and we shared that with them. Went over to our new building, which is a 23,000 square foot children's building. On any Sunday morning, we will run anywhere from 300 to 350 children in that building in 2 services. And of course, the amazing thing about that is about half as big as the church was when I got there. When I came on staff in 2007, the church was running, or had that earlier that year in January, was running about 150, 175 people. And so now, on any given Sunday morning in 1 hour, they will have more children than we had adults back then. So, we've been able to see some things happen. And I want to share, I want to try to go through this. So I want to tell you, we're recording, and at any time, anything that I say, anything that I share that we've done, and suggestions, or things that I want to share with you so that you can get out of what I believe that so many churches are doing. Carterville is doing it. And as a matter of fact, this insanity, I shared at supper time, this summer, late spring, we did a survey for our church. So people would get online, take a survey. We had a good response of how many people were willing to take this. Pretty good response of the demographic of people that took it. We did miss out on all of our college kids. So we realized that it is skewed a little bit because we understand that it would bring some things down. First of all, it would bring the medium age back down. Our medium age of church was about 35 years old. That was our medium age. Until we did this survey without our college kids, and it went up to probably about 30, somewhere between 38 and 40 years old. Well, that shocking thing to me as the leader was, when we started doing this 10 years ago, we set our sights on reaching people that did not go to church anywhere between the ages of 25 and 35 years old. That's where we wanted to go after. We wanted to go out and find people that didn't go to church anywhere. We didn't want to get the mad people from First Whatever over here, and the upset people from over here. We wanted to find people that were lost. We wanted to find people that had not been to church in years. We wanted to find those young couples that in some way been taken through a children's program, and they got up into junior high, or they got up into high school, and their lives started going off. They took and made decisions that took them away from the church. They didn't have parents that took them to church or that kept them, going. And so they drifted off, and we set our sights on talking to our people, of getting those type of people. So what we did with this last survey was we realized all of a sudden we're doing things that has caused our median age to move up. Now we're doing great things and we're growing. I shared we have evidence that we have a person on staff that they look and will tell me that on 2015, on this Sunday in June coming up, this is how many people we had in church. And then the next year, it was the same situation. So I'm going to tell you right now, this is how many people you can expect in church this next Sunday almost. And you know what? Without doubt, they've done enough study that they're pretty close every time. And so my fear is I looked at my staff, as we looked at the elders and elders meeting to show them, these results of the surveys. I said, gentlemen, we need to quit doing the same thing we've been doing. Because that's insanity. We need to realize we need to go back and figure out, now today, in 2017, we pretty much got it in 2007, 8, 9. We got it. We understood what we needed to do, and we did it for the last 10 years. We've been doing it good. We've been doing it right, but now we need to sit down. And so, our connections pastor has set me up for my house. I need to go home and tell my wife, and we're gonna prepare a meal. We're gonna have a meal ready for about 10 couples between the ages of 25 and 30. A couple of the couples have children, and we'll provide, a babysitter for them to come over to our house. A couple of the families, he told me, are just a young married man and woman. And then we have about 4 or 5 single people between the ages of 25, professional people that go to our church. And we're going to sit down, and we're going to start asking them questions about what we need to do and what kind of changes we need to make to be able to continue to reach out to those people. Because I saw that what I had happening at Carterville Christian Church was we were doing the same thing over and over again, and we were growing, but now we were missing the group of people that from the whole time we realized that we needed to reach out to. So with that, we're even there beginning to make some changes with that. And so because of that, somewhere here, and you don't know, but usually, I have my notes and everything else marked up, and they're hard to read for anybody else but me. I talked to these guys a couple weeks ago, so I want to talk to you about this and propose this to you. What's going to have to happen in any church? What's going to happen at Bartlesville Christian Church over the next year? We are going to start to make changes. Because changes equal growth. Changes are going to equal growth. We're not going to keep doing the same thing we've done over. Now, you may walk in and you go, well, I was here at church with you last year and it looks the same. Well, that's what it looks like, but we have a different vision that we're using to be able to reach the people that we want to reach, and to then, train and to give the spiritual information to the people that have been coming here. We're doing that. You may not be able to see right now the changes, but we know that in a year we want to be able to sit down, and if we surveyed everybody, just ask them their ages, we want to see that we have brought ourselves back to reaching the group of people that we know are probably the most lost. And they have the most to benefit from a church that will reach out to them. So the thing that we know is, for us to grow, we're going to have to change. Now, to remember this though, anytime you change, you're going to have conflict. Okay?
Amen.
There's no doubt about it, you're going to have conflict. If it's in the business and a group of people have been doing the same thing over and over again and failure, they forgot that failure, because they really truly believe that one of these days we're going to do the same thing and we're going to see something happen, and they're ready to celebrate that. Reality is they're not. And so they're going to have to change, and when they get ready to change, there's going to be conflict somewhere. Now, conflict, or pain, if you want to call it that, is going to lead to loss. That's something in church we don't like to talk about. Loss. Because loss usually means that if you're running 200, it means you're going to go down to 150. And we don't like that. We don't like it, especially if you're the senior pastor. You don't want to have to go to the elders meeting and go, and we were doing it, boys, and now, not so much. Except for our elders are on board with the fact that they realize that if we're going to change, there's going to be conflict and pain, and we're ready for the conflict and pain, because we truly believe in the conflict and pain and loss. What's going to happen after that is we're going to see gain. Because we've been able to make the change, and we're going to work through the pain. I did have just a few things I want to say. That when you know that you are going to experience pain, there's a couple of problems that you're going to have. And here it is. In my own life, I have high blood pressure. Okay? It's hard to believe, but I have high blood pressure. I had to face that problem one day. When they took my blood pressure 10 years ago or more, it was more than that. I was working at CIY. And the nurse walks back in the room and says, "Oh, Mr. Sigars, I'm going to turn the lights out. I want you just to lay down here on the thing here real quick. We're going to try to take your blood pressure again." And I'm going, "Is there a problem?" She said, "Oh, no. You're all right." I was about to die. "Oh, no, you're all right. You're okay." And so they turned the lights off. I tried to relax. She came in, took my blood pressure again. She said, "Oh, Mr. Doctor's going to come right in and talk to you." He came in and questioned me of all the things that I was doing, what was going on in my life. He said, "Well, you have any reason that you would be under stress?" I said, "Well, yeah, I work for CIY. That's stress." And he says, "You need a new job." And I said, "Well, let's try something different." He said, "Okay, and I got medicine for you." If I refuse to face the problem, when we know we have a problem in business, in church, and when you know, and that so much of our counseling is done with married couples, the problem today is only results of a problem that started 10 years ago. And they have been afraid, or they have refused for the past 10 years to ever address the problem. When I avoid my problems, the problems get bigger. At Carterville Christian Church, when we avoid the problems, and we have pretty much learned to not avoid the problems. Nobody likes confrontation. I do not like confrontation. But I realize that when there is a problem, it has to be confronted. So with that, We might be one of the only churches in America today that has ever used church discipline. We used it. We used it. It was a hard, long process, but we finally had to use it. We finally had to ask a man who was lying to us about things that we knew was going on. He brought in an ex-elder to try to plead his case, and we were like, well, we looked at the elder that he brought in, and we said, here's the evidence, and we slid the folder across the table, in which the elder said, dude, I just had a few minutes with him. We walked out, and we know what he said. He said, I didn't know this. You've lied to me, too. We had to walk in, and we had to use church discipline. And so there was loss, but we faced the problem. We faced the problem. We faced so many problems. I want you to know. I wish that I could tell you. I wish that I could go, here's a formula. You do these 5 things, and you're going to see Bartlesville Christian Church grow, and you're never going to face a problem. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you have got to realize tonight, one of the biggest things is if we have a problem, if we all deem that there is a problem, we need to face it, or it will get bigger. The second thing is pain is a part of the process. And I've already said that. Pain is going to be a part of the process. In my own life personally, pain was a part of the process. I had to learn to change my diet. I had to learn to do things in my life that just had to be done. Third of all, often the difference between where I am and where God wants me to be, pain is involved. I'm going to talk a lot about pain. I'm going to kind of use that just as that to let you know in a certain decision that we made, in a certain process that we went through, I'm just going to use the word that was painful. That was painful for us. But God uses pain. Just preached this last week. We're doing a series right now through Peter. We've picked out 4 out of all the things that we could do. We picked out 4 things to be able to talk about Peter. One of them was just that reason that we could talk about pain and growth. And it was when Peter was willing and went through this and worked out and brought out some of the new thoughts and looking at this story again when Peter walked on water with Jesus. But one of the great things that point out at the very end, the takeaway that I want you to go home with, the takeaway that I want you to make the decision about, is that faith thrives in discomfort. Faith thrives in discomfort. In the middle of a storm, faith was thriving. Faith was ready to happen. In the middle of walking on the water, faith was ready to happen. And even in failure, faith thrived. Because when you read the text, it was immediately that Jesus picked him up. It was immediate. They walked back to the boat. And I wanted to remind our people that in your storms of life today, Jesus is still looking for people to get out of the boat. He's not asking you to walk on Grand Lake or Table Rock or Lake of the Ozarks. He's asking you to walk through your storm of a disease, of a bad marital relationship right now, of a job, of maybe something that we can't even name tonight. He's asking you to get out of the boat and walk, and it's going to be
total about.
God is always faithful. He's always faithful. Food, right now, I want you to understand, whatever you guys can sit down, or people can sit down, leadership can sit down, I can take you to Bartlesville. We can talk about, here's our problems, here's our issues right now, I want you to know about it. Here's the situations that I know tomorrow when I show up in the office, there's going to be a problem that somebody's going to have to face. One of the staff members is going to have to come to me or their department head, and they're going to have to talk to them about a problem. I know that. God is faithful. It's something we always have to remember, that He is faithful. This is His church. Amen. This is not my church. That's one of those pain points that we had to keep reminding people 7 years ago. When they come in, you changed my church. It's my church. I got in trouble one Sunday, and I didn't mean this for change. I was just preaching to the people, and I said, I just want you to know this is not your grandma's church anymore. I didn't mean it bad. I just meant this is not grandma's church anymore. We're doing things different. There's going to be some things different. We can't do it the way grandma did them. We can't go back to 1930 and continue to do things that way. And that's all I meant. But whoa, boy, did I get in trouble. Did I face some pain because I said something like that? Now, it didn't stop me from saying it, because I would say it to you. This is not our church. This is the church of Jesus Christ. We're a part of His body. To work together, to come to the place and the position where we can see His vision and His mission for what His church needs to be doing in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. And when a group of people, however old we are, however set in our old ways we are willing to understand that this is His church and that His ideas of leading us forward, reaching out to the unchurched people in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I was going to say this again. I asked everybody tonight, they're sitting supper, tell me the big churches in town. They listed 4, maybe 5 big churches, maybe running at the most 1,000. Maybe somebody knows there's a church running more than that. I don't know. And then those are the big ones. Then you may have another 10 that are side. You may have another 10 that run 200 to 400. You start doing your math. There are at least between 38,000, which I don't understand. When I lived here in 1990, there were 38,000 people in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. And when I looked at your demographics this morning, there are still 38,000 people in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. I'm the same way. Drove around. You can drive around. There's new houses everywhere. Somebody's abandoning houses in this town. That's all I can say. Your real estate is up better than any other place in Oklahoma. So somebody's lying somewhere about how many people live here. But if you do the math and you take away all of that, you still have somewhere around probably 28 to 30,000 people not going to church. Yeah. You know what we found out? Jasper County is about 120,000. So at best, you know, we might have 20,000 people that go to church, and we have about 80 other thousand people not telling the truth about church. And we have people who do that at Cardinal. We have people at Cardinal that'll tell people you'll be standing in Lowe's, and the manager of one of the Lowe's come up, and we know him. Yes, we know him because of Cardinal Christian Church, and he tells somebody else, this is my pastor. Where do I go to church? When was the last time you were there? Yeah, you need to be there this Sunday because you're praying at communion. Yeah, things like that. You need to come and hear him and stuff. But you have a great opportunity here. So, again, if you ever have a question, just stop me. Let me tell you about Cardinal Christian Church. Okay? 10 years ago, well, let me just back up. I've got some bad, startling news for you. In 2007, they were going through a bunch of pain. The church right now today, this October, will be 130 years old. And so when I got there, one of the first celebrations we did was in October. The first weekend of October was the anniversary date, 120 years old. And I was bold and dumb. I got up and said some of the things that we did 120 years ago, we're still doing. It's terrible. We're still doing them. Some of you think you were here 120 years ago. I've heard from you. I've been going to this church for 100 years. Really? Okay. But they had all kinds of problems. Let me tell you, the church had never grown more than 300 people. Never grown more than 300 people. They would hit 400 at times. In 2001, I said they built a brand new building, and they believed the analogy, you build it, they will come. They believed that. And you know what? They built it, and some people came because they were all excited. We got a new building. Come see our new building. Come see what we're doing. We're really doing something out of Carterville. And I want you to know, if for no other reason, if you could just get some excitement going in here, you will get lost people. You will get unchurched people to come to your church because everybody will start talking.
That's right.
I stopped today. Where did I have to stop this morning? See, I don't even know where I go during the day. I do know this. I stopped somewhere, and somebody said, Luke did yesterday too, somebody today said the same thing. They live around there, and they go, so now, what do you do? And, well, I'm the pastor at Carter. Oh, I heard all about your church. Yeah, we're really not, we really don't handle snakes there. And he goes, no, I didn't hear that one. I said, well, okay, that one's out there. But, and he goes, man, I know all that. You get some excitement going around here. You get some enthusiasm among yourselves. You don't need a building. They built the building, but they had no vision. And they had no drive to mission to do what, because they thought, we just build a building, we got it made. So at no time did they ever get more or average for any length of time more than 450 people. As I said in 2007, when I got there, that 175 to 200 would be the best that they could do. Let me just go back in a few years for you. Within a 12-year period at Carterville Christian Church, leading up to 2007, they had 2 worship leaders have affairs. One worship leader was arrested for child molestation and then having an affair with the church secretary. That's 2 worship leaders. One pastor was fired. Now, Diane and I, when we left here, we moved to Carterville. We bought an old historic home in Carterville. And so Diane and I lived there, and then after she passed away, Jamie and I lived there for about we lived there till 2003. So we lived there for another 8 years, 7 years after that time. So I know all about Carterville, Missouri. During that time that we lived in Carterville, they had to fire one of their preachers, the preacher that was trying to help them build the building, because he was lying. And over again, he was caught lying until finally they just said, after he had embarrassed the elders in a congregational meeting in front of what they would have said was a packed house, being caught in his lies, and them sitting there trying to tell people he lied to us too. At the same time, the church split. And another church was birthed off of that split. That's really not healthy. That was painful. Today, or within a few years after they built the building, and then they had to dissolve. That church just dissolved. That building sat empty we went to look at it as a group of elders. We went to look at the building about buying it. And everybody, as we stood around and talked, wouldn't this be ironic? We bought this building so that we could do our youth services in it. And our satellite, our church right here in this part of the Web City, about 4 miles away from our church right now. Wouldn't it be ironic if we bought this? Now, we didn't buy it. There's another church in it now, and they're thriving, and we're so thankful that they're doing really well. But they were able to birth off a split from the Baptist church in town. But they were able to birth and do a pretty good job. They're very, very successful today with what they're doing. So in that church split, the church went through that. Now, then it came the painful thing of the church was dwindling down to nothing in 2006. 150, 175 people at that time. Which then the decision was made because the young couples in the church, those that were probably about that time, somewhere around 28 to 30 years old, came to the elders and said, you know what, we grew up in this church. We grew up in this church, we loved you. And this was kind of like the nail in the coffin, this was the knife to the heart. These three young couples, and they still go to Carterville today. They looked at the elders and they said, we want you to know we will continue to go to church here. We will work in the children's ministry because we have children right now. We'll probably work in the teen ministries. That's the vision we see, what's going on here. We want you to know this. We'll never invite any of our friends to come to this church. Never invite anybody to come to this church. So, I know, I want you to know, and share it with Rod, share it with the other guys, we understand what it's like to come to a point where you realize you look, and these guys said, we were thinking that probably in a couple of years, one Sunday night, we would probably meet for the last time. And we would decide who's going to turn off the lights and lock the doors. Now, by chance, I was having coffee with a professor at Ozark and a friend, a youth minister in the next town. And that professor that day invited Damien Spickeright to come and have coffee with us. It was in finals, and so we were sitting down, and we had coffee every Friday. And Damien was there, and I just happened to look at Damien because I, had lived in Carterville, was now moved to Webb, which is all the same. And I just said, "How's things out in Carterville?" And he just said, "It's bad. It's really bad. Sunday night, they're going to ask the preacher to resign. It has to happen, and it's hard. It's going to be bad. Boy, it's bad." He just went, "It's bad. It's really bad." Here's a young, vibrant guy. He was probably 35 or 36 years old. And he's good. He is good. And his wife is good. And he just started telling us all the bad things. And he says, "Hey, they've asked me to find a new minister." And Doug Aldrich, who was a professor, said across the table, "Well, why don't you ask Rob?" And I worked at Seattle. I was director of Seattle. "Why don't you ask Rob? 17 years. Why don't you ask Rob to come?" And they start having a conversation at the table like, "Well, Rob and Sigars would not want to come to our church. We have a terrible church. Rob would not want to come here." And "Well, you ought to ask him. You ought to just ask him if he'd come to your church. He would never come to our church. You know what kind of problems we have at church?" I said, "Boys, I'm sitting right here at the table with you. Somebody just look at me." And David Spickeright looked at me, sitting there drinking our coffee, and he said, "Just like a boy asking a girl out for the prom. you wouldn't want to come to Carterville Christian Church with us, would you? And I said, let's stay and have some more coffee time. And at that moment, at that time, we began to talk and dream together, Damien and I. And then I met, he said, let me call the chairman of the elders. And the next week I met with the chairman of the elders. And we began to sit down and talk and to dream about what could really happen at Carterville Christian Church with my experience of 17 years of being able to travel, sitting in churches where I could see the success and what made the difference in those churches. I've been in churches where at the moment that you're there, I showed up to preach at a church in Houston, Texas one morning, 2 services that I was going to be speaking at. And then I was going to speak that night to the youth program. I came in early, as I always did, like Dave, the spiritual guys, we sit up front. And so I'm sitting up front, and I'm there pretty early. The youth minister comes in and greets me. The worship leader comes in and says something to me. And just hello and everything. And then church starts. And the worship leader starts talking to the church. Hey everybody, we're glad you're here. But what he was doing was like this. He's telling, hey everybody, we're glad you're here this morning. We're really thankful that you're here. I hope you've had a great time this weekend. We're having a great time. And I go, this dude's just talking to me. Why is he just talking to me? I mean, we've already been introduced. I kind of turned around and looked, and there was probably about 10 other people in this church behind me. I'm going, ooh. Now, I wasn't speaking that morning. I just came to church with him. That's right. I didn't speak till that afternoon and night. After that first service, the youth minister came and got me and said, hey, could you come in my office? And he sat down and he came around his desk and he sat down and got knee to knee with me. And I'm thinking, what did I do wrong? How did they know? Whenever I did. I mean, I'm waiting for him to tell me, nobody's going to come because you. He said, well, this afternoon I need you to know there's going to be an elders meeting and they're probably going to fire all the staff. I'm going, you got to be kidding me. I showed up for this? This is great. This is going to be interesting. He said, yeah, it's going to be the best. I don't know what we're going to do tonight. He said, I'm going to make some phone calls. I'll call you just going back to the hotel if you want and wait and see. I'm going to call you and see what we're going to do tonight. And sure enough, that afternoon, they fired all of them. And they called me up and said, well, the elders still want you to speak tonight because there's going to be a big, it's for the Houston area like churches. So there's going to be a big group of people here tonight. So they still want you to speak. So I came back that night walking in the church. I mean, like, whoa. And sure enough, I mean, people in the church were over in corners and they're crying. And, you can see all of them, and all this coming back. And I got to speak to these people now, So I've been there. Carterville, we have been there. We have been in the pain. But what happened in the pain over the last 10 years, we'll get to you how we did it right now. In that last 10 years, we've done 3 services. We built the building. We've grown from, the 170 on Easter Sunday. We had over 2,000 people in church again. We're getting ready to go. We built in our building. It was a gymnasium, not anything like what you guys have where it was built as a gymnasium. And then everything else was separate, other educational area. At the time before we had to start our building plans, we built a balcony in there that seats 200 people with new tech booth, video booth, everything up there. We were doing 3 services where we were packed out in there. We used up all of our Sunday school classes for children. Now, if we were running 1,000, we were having a third or 30% of those were children. We used up every room possible in the church for children's ministry. So we had to drop all of our Sunday school classes. And everybody had to go meeting in small groups. So whether you like small groups, life groups, cell groups, whatever groups you want to call, God told us, you're going to do them. So you better just enjoy doing them. And that's what we had to say. People, you don't understand. We don't have any more room to do Sunday school classes. We're going to have to do small groups. And so we designed our small groups that meet still now to this day, although we've built a new building and we built the balcony and we went back to 2 services. Everybody said we want to stay in small groups. So our small groups are sermon-based small groups. Every week I have to supply or I have a couple of people now that help write questions about the sermon. All sermons are posted live. Now we do them live on Facebook, like I think you guys may be doing. We do live Facebook. They're recorded and posted on Monday morning so that everybody can see a sermon, everybody can have the questions, the discussion questions and applications to be able to do. Now, how we do life groups is we provide babysitting for your life groups. We have a person that's been hired, and we contract college students to be there on Sunday night, Monday night, and Wednesday night. That's when our life groups meet. Now, that's just us. Just telling you that, not asking you that. Because I want to share with you how we got to where we were with our vision and ministry to be able to get to what is happening right there. Oh, I forgot to tell you a few things, and we'll lead up to how we got to this mission. One of the big changes was that we had to change leadership. And I don't mean change the men out, but how we led and what we would do. So one of the first things that we did was we changed the philosophy of how we led our church. Whether agreement or disagreement with anybody, I was hired to not just be the senior pastor, I was also an elder. Now today, as we have grown, there are 2 staff members that serve as elders on our elder, and we call it leadership. It's the leadership of the church. There are 8 of us together. There are 6 men from the congregation. There are 2 of us from the staff. It is myself. I am the senior leader of the staff. And then we have an executive pastor who is the financial and the business partner of what business person of what we do. And so he also serves as an elder. Now, we don't vote as an eldership. Everything is by consensus. And so we don't have motions. We don't have seconds. We all either go in or we don't go at all. We all are for it, or we don't know. And so it really helps with your vision and ministry to realize that anytime we get up and we say we're going to go to 3 services, that the leadership has said, we're in. We're going. And if you want to come and talk to us, if you want to complain, we're going. You can either go with us or we'll suffer the loss. But they've learned we've lost before, but we're going ahead with the mission. We're moving. We're going to do these things. So we had to change that to be able to do that. But I was going to say, in the midst of getting all this done, we had to let a youth minister go, even before I got started. I was at CIY, I was getting phone calls, and, hey, this has happened, what do you want to do? I go, well, one way or the other, boys, you need to understand something. It sounds like from what you told me, either you do it tonight, or I'll do it next month when I come on staff. Which one do you want to do? And they said, we'll be the bad guys, we'll do it tonight. So a youth minister was let go. The first hire that I did was a tech minister. I wanted what you have up here to be the best it could possibly be, because if I want to ask a 25-year-old man or young lady to come to my church that lives off of social media and lives in the world of technology, I want them to walk into the church of Jesus Christ and realize that we're still not back in the 70s. And I appreciate, some of the things you have, the willingness that you have to be able to do these things, because you are saying to people when they walk in here, we're gonna present the gospel to you as if it's 2017. I'm thankful that you would say, we're recording or we are putting our services live on Facebook. It's one of the easiest things to be able to do. There's no real technology to that. That's the easiest way to go. That's why we have done that. It's the easiest way to go. And so I'm thankful that you would be able to, that you would do that. You'd be thinking about doing that. But that's why I hired a tech guy, first of all. My second hire was I had to go sit down with our children's minister, who was part-time, and we started growing. In just a few months, our children's room that at one time, on a Sunday morning at that time, we'd have 30 kids in it. All of a sudden, we're running 50 kids. And so I had to sit down with him. He was a great guy. And I just said, Jeremy, the elders have asked me to talk with you because we have looked at our figures and just here within a month or two, we are seeing tremendous growth in our children's ministry, and they want to propose to you to go full-time. They want to ask you to come on board with us full time. And he said, you know, Robin, I would really like to do that, but I can't. I'm going to resign. So I guess I'll resign tonight. I'm going to move back home, take care of my mom and dad. And their home church has offered me to come home. They've offered me the children's ministry there. And I said, that's wonderful. That is so wonderful. The next day I made the phone call and I hired a new children's minister out of our church. I hired Stacy Spigerite, which is Damien's wife. I hired her to come on. She didn't want to be full-time, but she still had children at home. And so we worked out the deal that she came on part-time with us. And so within just a few months, we began to establish what we needed to do. Now I realized the eldership had changed our idea of how we were going to do things. It was not me against them. It was us together. We didn't vote. We were in consensus together. These are the things we need to do to move ahead. And so we did. And so the next thing we had to change was our bylaws. We had pages of bylaws. Our bylaws now are a page and a half.
Amen.
Because we didn't want to be stuck. Every time we needed to move forward, we didn't want to be stuck with the fact that we can't because of a bylaw that we all had been signed. And so we went through and began to prayerfully consider which ones that we needed to present, that we were going to drop, any few new ones that we would be supplying within those, and what we would do with those. And so we changed those bylaws tremendously. We changed the hiring and firing policies. The church does not hire staff members anymore. And you can ask me now, later, what does that look like? The executive team and elders hire all the people that are on staff. The only person the church will vote on is the senior pastor of Bartlesville Christian Church. They will vote on the next guy that will take my place. But everybody else is hired by the executive team now and by the elders. So you will always, unless you are the administrative help, you will always go before the elders, you'll be interviewed by the elders, and the elders will affirm you of what the team and department that you're going to be working in has brought you there for. So yes, sir.
Who makes up the executive team?
The executive team is myself, and its staff members, and myself, our executive pastor, our family minister, which is now Stacy Spigerite, because she is in charge of all youth ministry from 0 through 18 years old. She oversees them. But underneath her are 2 high school ministers. Now a junior high minister is coming on, so they will take care of all student ministry starting this fall. And then she has 3 other ladies that work underneath her indirectly in children's ministry, along with a early childhood director who is in charge of all 0 through 4-year-olds and the babysitting service that we supply through the events and through small groups. So, and then the last one is our connections pastor, who is then in charge and oversees our first impressions and guest services minister, as well as the worship minister and the tech minister. And we did that for communication reasons. All of that's done so that every week, every department meets, every department is communicated with and has the opportunity through that to communicate back to the executive team or through their direct report above them to come to me, if that need be. So that I'm not bogged down in 10 meetings with these people all week long, which that's used to what happened. So it doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to them. It doesn't mean that I don't sit down in their office. I do that a lot. I try to stay away from the children's ministry area because there's kids over there. I usually go throughout the week and I sit with everybody to talk to them about what's going on. I'm highly involved in what goes on. If you just need a vacation, you can come over to Carterville January the 9th through the Sunday night through the Thursday night. There'll be 700 people there, kids, for VBS. And I'm always involved in that. Always doing something for VBS. But that's our executive team. So we had to change the bylaws to be able to do that, to hire and firing. The senior minister, and the executive pastor, all the elders have the fire and power. We will be the ones to let you go, if that's need be. We'll be the ones to let you go. And so everybody knows that when you come on staff. We have a policy manual that you have to read and sign on policies and procedures that will be done in church, how you will be expected to act. I was just joking with Dave tonight. We have a dress policy. Now that doesn't mean that I don't wear blue jeans to preach on Sunday morning. I do. Anybody on stage, can't wear shorts, and your t-shirt has to look like you didn't just get it out of the dirty clothes. I'm like a superintendent at school and leaving before church, looking at everybody going, everybody's clean. Can't you fold it before you bring it? I mean, do something, man. If I have to send you home, I'll send you home. You will be back. You're the worship leader. You will be back. But we have a policy that no shorts can be worn in the office unless you are working on a project between Labor Day and Memorial Day. And they look at me like I'm Hitler, And so this year, I told Dave, May 1st, I sent out a memo to everybody. Hey, I'm feeling really nice this year. Today, you can start wearing shorts. It's May 1st. You can all wear shorts. There was a parade of celebration that went up and down the staff hallway, just because I said that. We had to, first of all, then reset the mission and vision. This is what you're here for. At Carterville Christian Church. There was a mission statement. It was in the bulletin when I got there. And it was about 4 lines long. Nobody could tell you what it was unless they were holding the bulletin themselves and they would read it word for word. The mission statement was a wonderful statement, but nobody could understand it. You had to have a Bible college degree. And some years later, after we made the change, the wonderful man, Jim Markham, wrote it. And he was an astounding professor and man. And a few years after that, I was able to sit down and go, after we made the changes, and go, Jim, really? And he goes, I know, it was too long, wasn't it? He said, I enjoyed writing. And I said, I enjoyed reading it. It was great. I felt I was inspired to read it. But I'm the preacher. I was going, this is good. So we had to change that. Of course, every church has the same mission statement. It doesn't matter what denomination you are, it doesn't matter how big you are, we all have the same mission. That is to go out into the world and make disciples. That is our mission. To go make disciples. And that is something that we preach about constantly. I keep the vision of Carterville Christian Church before those people weekly. I will not let more than 3 weeks go by that I do not tell us and remind us again of our mission. What we are to be doing. We're to be going out and making disciples. We want to go find people then underneath that are unchurched people. We want to be the church that unchurched people will walk into, and they will know from the moment they pulled on our property that they're at a place that is different than any other place they have ever been before. We use the word, and it's going to be reintroduced. Again, we're having to do a lot of new things. On July the 19th, we have a full staff meeting together, and we're going to reintroduce and remind people we want to be irresistible. I want people to drive by the highway, the 4-lane highway out in front of our church. I want people to drive by on Sunday morning and the Holy Spirit cause their heads to turn and look to see what's happening. And we've had people come to church. Why did you come to Carterville Christian Church? Because we drove by and saw your people standing on the road outside of your church waving at us. We're on the 4-lane. You're on the outer road. There were people out there waving at us. We kind of thought they were waiting for us to come back and come in. So this week we decided to come to church. We changed the mission and we created the vision. Our vision comes from Matthew, the 22nd chapter, verses 37 through 41, where the scribes and the Pharisees, trying to test Jesus, ask him, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, well, the greatest commandment comes from Deuteronomy, 6th chapter, 4th verse. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. That's the greatest commandment. Above everything else, love God. Second of all, equally, he says that, equally to that one is love your neighbor as yourself. And so we decided that what we would do and set before people in everything we do is that we would love God, love others, and serve the world. We borrowed it. Every church, every other church in America probably has that. But we decided, because we wanted to reach people that were 25 to 35, we branded it. We put it on t-shirts. We put it on our pins. We put it on our coffee cups. We put it on everything that we have has that on it still today, and it still will have on it. Now, when we teach you about Carterville Christian Church, we have a triangle. And in the triangle, it's an equilateral triangle. And if at any time one or two of these get stronger than the third, whatever the third is, the triangle collapses. And so first of all, we want you to be with Jesus Christ. All of our teaching every Sunday. I grew up under guys and listening to guys like Dave up here every Sunday. And I've got young guys going, do we have an invitation every Sunday? Well, you better believe we do. Because I'm inviting people to come to Jesus Christ. Well, could we do? No, we can't. I mean, we're going to sing just as I am. We don't do that, but I tell them that. If you make me mad, I want to make you play just as I am. And I will sing it until somebody comes forward. And so, one Sunday, I preached a sermon we preached on faith. The next Sunday was on confession. The next Sunday was on repentance. And the last Sunday was on baptism. And 2 services in a row. I started taking off my coat. I took off my shirt, and I go, I know where you think I'm doing, but I'm not. And I walked back through the door, and I came down to the baptistry, and I said, right now, if you want Jesus, you come up here. We baptized 35 people. Now, for us, we were running about 400 at that time. And you know what? I'll tell people that were there at 400, come on, we're going to do that Pentecost Sunday. We're going to have Pentecost. I go, see, we got rednecks, so we're going to do that Pentecost thing. We're going to do it soon. Don't worry, we're going to do it soon. You can find that on YouTube. If you go to the Carterville Christian Church on YouTube, our page, you can see it's divided into 2. You can see all those baptisms and what was taking place during that. So if you want to go watch it, you can do that. So we had to change that, the mission and the vision. Now again, I want you to realize it was painful this whole time. Because now we were beginning to change our leadership style, and it came under 2 ways. Our church became elder protected. The elders protect the church. The word shepherd means that, and here's a mantra, we use a lot of mantras, I've said this to guys before, make you mad or not. Sheep never tell shepherds where to go get water. But if you've got good shepherds, they're continually going to be taking you to new water. They're continually going to be stepping out in front of you to lead you to new places, to go to be able to get new food and new water. We were at a conference, and the elders were there down in Dallas, Texas in 2009. And this is where things for the eldership, when we really go, oh man, we can begin to see the light. We can begin to see what we need to be doing. The speaker asked all the senior ministers, pastors, or leaders to stand up, and so I stood up. And there was a room, there's about 3,000 of us all together. So, there were hundreds of guys standing up. Rather, some liberal churches, so there was a couple women. And so we're standing up in front of all these people. And I try to bring some humor to you once in a while so that you think that I'm just not mad. So I'm standing there. And this preacher goes, I want you, how many of you are elders in your churches? And so he said, just stand up real quick. So the elder stood up. And so everybody could see. He says, okay, you go over, sit back down. You see these men and these women standing up? He was a little spiritual. See all these women standing up out here? God never spoke. I'm pretty sure he was true, Dave. God never spoke through a committee of people.
Amen.
He always spoke through a prophet. And you elders chose that man standing up there right now to be your prophet. And if you deem him as the prophet, you ordain him as the prophet, then you better listen to what the prophet has to say. Now, if your prophet's not on his knees, you need to protect him, you need to get him time, and you need to lead him to his knees. You need to get him to where God can speak to him and through him to lead you. But you need to understand. I'm just standing there going, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired. They're going to fire me. They're going to fire me. This is it. I'm going to have to call my wife. I mean, call home and say, I wish I couldn't quit CIY because I don't have a job now. And I just knew it. I just knew it. And all of a sudden, I felt the hand grab my hand. I felt another hand grab my hand. I felt the guy behind me stand up and put his hands on my shoulder. They all whispered, "We're sorry. We're sorry. We want to go where you want to go." That night in Dallas, Texas, Cardinal Christian Church changed. And I've been on my knees ever since. My wife is on her knees tonight. She couldn't come with me, but I know she's on her knees tonight praying for East Bartlesville Christian Church. My elders know now that I'm here. I know that they're praying for you because I'm here. My staff met today, although I wasn't there. I know they met. And they prayed about you because I'm here. They prayed Monday over me because I spoke at a camp. Because I was at the camp. And I spoke. And they wanted the prophet to have the ordination and the anointing of God before he spoke. They pray with me and over me every Sunday. So you can kind of imagine what it's like when you sit down with a group of men and they look down the table and they say, "Where are we going now?" You better have an answer. That's what you're looking for at Cardinal Christian, at East Bartlesville. You're looking for a group of men and leaders that will protect you and lead you to where you need to go so that you can reach the 30,000 people in this community that aren't going to church Sunday. You need someone to keep the vision before you. You need a group of men to go, "It's going to hurt people. We're going to have to make some decisions around here that are going to hurt." And I said in a Sunday school class in the spring of 2008, it's a group of wonderful people. And I said, "We're going to go to 2 services, and I want to be the one to tell you. Also, I want you to know, anytime we've let anybody go at our church, we've only let 2 people go. One was an affair. The other one, his wife was having the affair with this one. I have never stood up alone in our church, but I have always taken the brunt. I have always been the one to stand before our church and deliver the bad news. I won't let my elders do that. I've had them stand next to me. I've had them cry with me. But I told them, I will stand with you and in front of you at all times. I've not always done everything they like. And they told me. And you know what? I'm a big boy. Wait, okay. I'm a grown man. I didn't expect to please them all the time. But you know what I know? They consider me their friend and their prophet. And so when they told me that, and I backed up and said, "You guys are right," I would back away. And then every time they go, no, get it, dude. And I know. We're either all in or we back away. It goes for all of us. So we changed the leadership style of protection. The staff leads. And what I mean by that, the elders have empowered the staff. When I got there, if we wanted to do anything, this is what we would hear from people. People would say to us, "Well, what do the elders say?" Well, I would come and say, "Hey, you know what? Would you do this for us? I'm going to put you in charge of, this right here. Because you've been doing this. We're just going to put you in charge. Now you have to worry." And then people would go, "Well, what do the elders say?" Well, the elders said that you're in charge. Well, but I need to spend some money. So what the elders say? Well, the elders said you're in charge. Well, I need to spend $100. The elders said you're in charge. We better check to see if we got $100 because last week's offering wasn't very good. But we're going to check to see if you got your $100. And so we began to empower people, letting them do what they needed to do. We started setting aside the money for them, and they'd know, okay, yeah, your budget's pretty small, you only got $500, but we didn't need $500 last year. So, now those budgets have grown tremendously. But we started to lead. The staff began to lead in their positions, and each one of their positions is very well defined. on where they are to lead. Now, they all know that they're going to step across those positions sometimes, and when someone needs help somewhere else, they're to get over there, and they're to be the help. There are all on board days and times, which means everybody will be there. VBS is an all on board type of day. I can't remember all of it, but there are like 6 times a year that everybody's on board. Everybody has to be here. There is no, check your calendar. These have already been on there. You can't have vacation during that time. Everybody's on board. Christmas services, everybody's on board. I want to go see my mom. This is your job. I pay you to be here. You don't work at Target. You work here in the kingdom, and this is one of our services. So we lead as staff members, each one of us, in our positions. And we've been able to check up and check the accountability with that. Our elders evaluate what is going on. What you don't inspect is never going to come about. So they do a lot of inspection. We do a lot of that for them when we come in with a report. We didn't let go, but we had a staff member over the last year or two has just not been himself. He was just not happy with his job. We tried to do everything we possibly could. And when one of our elders is a great leader on the fact, is your life filled with joy right now? A lot of times he'll come up to a staff member on a Sunday morning and he'll just say, are you filled with joy today? Do you have joy in your job? And if the staff member goes, he takes them out, they go talk, they'll meet for lunch. He wants to know, why don't you have joy? You've been given the opportunity to serve within the kingdom of God, to do what the kingdom of God has allowed you to be able to do great things. What's happened to your joy? So we had a staff member who was really struggling with his joy. And last June, we had an elders meeting, and we're sitting there in discussion, and the executive pastor and I, we had our computers open so we could keep up and keep everything moving. So we came to what we thought was the end of the meeting, and we said, okay, that's everything we've been able to discuss. We prayed about everything. In our elders meetings, we pray over all the prayer requests. We talk about the people issues that we know about, marriages that we know about that need counsel within the church, within staff, and within elders. Our elders will meet with any couple that we deem they need to meet with. They will meet with any individual. If it is a female, their wives will meet with them, with any female that needs to be met with at any time. All that has to be done is a phone call made, and they will make arrangements to meet with them, to protect them, and to advise them, and to listen to their problems. And so that's what we do in an elders meeting. The future events are shared with them. This is the things that we're going to be doing over the next 3 months each time. This is what's going on in 3 months. Here's the stats. Other issues that need to be discussed that they bring to the table that we need to talk about that we may not have known about, or to give a report in those issues. Do we know what's happened here? How's this? And we never talk about money. We don't talk about money. We talk about people. We pray over people. And so we close our computers, and one of the elders goes, what about Andy? We go, what do you mean, what about Andy? He just doesn't seem happy. So we opened up our computers and said, yeah, we don't think he is. We've done all we possibly can. Both of us would talk to him. We challenged him. We tried to lead him down this road. We showed him ways we could do this. And so from that venture, our elders, then Matt took the opportunity the next day. I was leaving on vacation. He talked with Andy and just proposed to Andy, Andy, are you happy? Oh, yeah, I'm happy. Andy, when the elders can see you're not happy, Andy finally said, I want to go preach. And the elders said, we think he wants to go preach. And he's not second in line to get the senior minister's job. If I die, he's not going to get it. And so Andy did that. And so what we did from June until December of last year, we worked with Andy in moving him to a new church in the East St. Louis area. A new church runs 300 people. We worked through that with him. We were in on interview stuff.
Is it Claire?
What? Yes.
I saw him 2 weekends ago.
Okay.
And that boy did a great.
Yeah, he came from Bartlesville Christian Church. The only issue was he was not going to get my job. So,
I love that kid.
yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. So we helped him through that whole process to be able to get there. In talking, three of us talked with their lead elder, I believe his name was John, quite a few times. All three of us talked to him about it. And so talked to Andy about it. The elders took care of him very well. I was kind of like, whoa, really? I need my house paid for too, you know. They were very generous to make sure that everything went well for him up there. So so he was with us. He was with us for about 5 years. And so, he just wasn't happy at the very end. And then, you know, Napa just wouldn't find his joy. So that's how we do things. And one last thing, and I'll open, you can ask me any questions you want. How do we select elders? We do not elect elders. We select elders. We change the verbiage and we change the process. At any point in time, we don't use the word nomination, but at any point in time, if you felt like, you know, somebody, a man, is suitable for eldership, you can come to any elder and you can suggest that you believe that this guy, that you believe Robin, is qualified to be an elder at Bartlesville Christian Church. We don't go by age restrictions because we have a very young church. So we don't necessarily go by age restrictions, saying that a guy has to be old to be an elder. Because then you have to start asking what's old, and it deems on the medium age of your church. We're a church, mainly, as I said, 40-year-old people. So you can imagine what I look like too. You know, I'm really old, and they say that a lot. I'm really old. I am really old. And keep talking like that, you're not going to get so old. So we don't necessarily use age restrictions. We do use the qualifications in 1 Timothy 3rd chapter. We do go through that. But then, at that time, you'd give one of the elders a name. He would come into the elders meeting and said, hey, it's been brought to my attention that, you know, John Doe is a man that would be qualified to serve with us in the leadership role. And so that guy then would then be given, unless anybody at the table could go, well, you know, we just know that he had a DWI 3 weeks ago. Nobody knows about that. We know about that. And so then he would go to John after everybody's talked about it. I mean, everybody's on board. Consensus, we're all willing. Let's go talk to John. He would go talk to John and say, you know, someone's come to us and it's brought to our attention that they believe that you have the qualities and the abilities to be a spiritual leader within our church. And so at that point in time, because one of the first things that Paul tells Timothy is that the man ought to desire this. It ought to be something that he has within his heart, that he would be willing to serve. One of the reasons why we got away from nominations, because we realized what happens a lot of times, and I'm not saying East Bartlesville, I'm just saying across the board, what I've seen is that when the congregation is upset with what's going on, we're going to nominate somebody to change that for us. What does that sound like? Sounds like the United States government, my representatives, my district. I don't like how things are going down at the state capitol. So you know what? This is like my boy to get in there. I'll get some roads paved in my county. A lot of times that's how churches function. That's what they do. And that's what they believe. And they let them know, you know what? I put your name in on there. I expect a little kickback when we get you in. Okay? Do what I want. If you've ever been a part of something like that, you know what happens after that. So in that process, then there's no popularity. Then we go to John, and John has the option to say yes or no. Now, John says no to us. It's not like we go, whew, because we've all agreed that we think John does have those qualities to be a spiritual leader within our church. And so at that time, we let John know, you know, John, if at any point in time, you have a change of heart, we'd like to ask you to pray. If God lays upon your heart that you would want to do this, we would like to talk to you again. Somebody sees this quality within you, but if you can't see it, we don't want to make you see it. We don't want to force you to see it. We want God to reveal that to you. And so it's on the table. We want you to pray about it. Now, we've had 2 men over 10 years that we've gone to that still to this day have said no. We had one man who came to us who said that I would like for you to consider me in this. I said, well, let me go to the elders. I think the elders, the process took place. Now, after that, we started, what happens is you go through a year-long process to become an elder. It's a year-long process. You will be taken through, the executive pastor and myself will take you through the book, Biblical Eldership. You will read through that. You will go through that book and study with us. You will meet with the elders. And again, they would have the opportunity at that time to just talk with you, but you would be in on seeing what an elders meeting looks like. Then you meet individually over the year with each one of the elders, that they can talk with you and that they can share with you. Then at that point in time, over this year, you're brought in one more time to sit down and to see what kind of responsibilities that you would be given also to work through with us on this. What would you be expected of you to be able to go through this? We don't have men miss elders meetings very often. We have guys that lament when they're not there. Of course, one of the reasons is we always tell them that you're going to get 3 new jobs when you're not here. But we have guys that will do all they possibly can to get to an elders meeting because they want to be there. They want to be a part of what's going on. They want to know what is going on. And so they take this very, very seriously. Now what we do is the final process is that person is brought and introduced with his wife to the church, both services, and you're given an opportunity to vote of affirmation. Our elders are very serious, not because of me. They're very serious that if the elders of this church, the men that are the shepherds of this church, have deemed that this, what we want to do next, that sheep don't tell shepherds what to do. If this man has fulfilled the qualifications, this man has been through the process, this man has not met with any resistance, and this man desires now, through all that we've put him through in study and talking to him, he wants to be a spiritual leader of this church. We'd like to ask you to affirm him. And so they vote a vote of affirmation. We brought on 3 new elders in that time. As I say, one man went through the year-long process and is still going to, still saying, let us pray about it. Let us pray about it. Let us pray about it. And they're qualified. They're great men. They're great spiritual leaders within the church. They're leading within the church. And so that's how we select elders at Carver. Now,
How often?
we don't have term limits. Here's the reason why, and I don't care, when churches tell me that they have term limits, I just go, okay, that's how you do it. If it's successful for you, it's fine. Here's what we saw, and all the elders suggested this. They didn't want term limits anymore because what they saw was every 3 years we were replacing at least 3 elders. And it was not working for them. I get it. It was not working. For all the years you may have had term limits in Title IX, I'd say it worked. It worked. We could get in front of people and have a good time arguing about it. It's all it would end up. And then you're going to do it like your way, or we're going to do it our way. We're going to walk away going, it's working for you, and it's working for me. And there's the thing that you have to understand. Sometimes you can look and listen to somebody and go, I'm going to take away that one thing that he said. And I'm going to take my one thing, and he may go, I'm going to take that one thing. And we're going to use it because he knows what's happening best there. I know what's happening best here. And my leaders have decided that they don't want me every 3 years to have to reintroduce everything, go all over, because especially we just went through a building situation where it took us 3 years to just break ground because we were so tedious to the prayer and the seeking God. When they built the building in 2001, they'd already split once, they're about to split again. The eldership split. I know I was at your church near Revival when you guys were building the other building, a new worship center. I don't know how that went for you, but the first one they built at Cargill, I was glad I wasn't there. When I heard the war stories and the fights that went on, We built that building, that children's building. There was not one time that the elders said anything cross to each other about it. Not one time. Not one time. Our executive pastor claims the only bad decision of the building was made to the elders because we picked the color, and he says it's a bad color. You know, you can be fired. So I have that ability. That's the only thing that he would say that the elders did wrong in that building. And I tell people today, it was such a joy. Those guys, when it was all done, and we stood there today that, you know, we opened it up and people came in and looked around. The elders, there's a couple of them standing there crying, just we can't believe this. We went through all that back in 2000 and 2001. They ended up $1 million over budget in 2001. We're still paying for it today. But they stood there realizing this was God. And I'll tell you right now, it can happen.
That's right.
God, you just got to let God, you just got to go, okay, we got to make some changes. We got to let people lead. If you call a prophet, you got to trust that God is leading a prophet to you. And let him set the vision. Let him set the mission. And together, everybody get and go. There's a term that we use. One of them is I always remind my staff, make sure you've got my ladder. Make sure you've got my ladder. Because when I step up there and I start sharing the vision, I want to make sure, tell me right now, if you don't like the vision, you need to tell me right now so I can either change it or convince you. I can answer your question. Because this is the vision that's set. I need to make sure that everybody down below is going to hold my ladder. And that we'll make it. We'll get through it. So we've been through pain. And we have suffered greatly. We have lost. And God has built. And so it's easy for me to sit down and go, I love to talk about it. But I can tell you right now, I show up every Monday morning. I open up the Word, and I don't know how you're going to do this again this week. But I can't wait to see God work. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. I think last year we think it was good for us. We had 110 baptisms. The goal of the leadership this year is to have 150 baptisms. And so we had over 900 guests last year visit our church. And so our goal this year is to have 1,000 people visit Cargo Christian Church. We just had a family visit from Grove. Cargo is located in the northeast part of the Joplin area. We're out on the 4-lane highway. There is no town around us. We just kept the name Carterville, which we're always saying we got to change the name. But we still go by Carterville Christian Church. We're not there. We had a family visit from Grove about 3 weeks ago. We have a process. Now let me tell you this. From the moment you pull on our property, we have a parking lot attendants. We have men and women in our parking lot who will help you find a parking place. They want to know, and they have a sign that if you're a first-time visitor, you flash your lights, they have special parking places just for you. When you pull up as a first-time visitor, they have a radio, and they will radio in the guest services that we have a couple coming in, there are no children with them. And they direct you to the guest service table to whatever building you're going to walk into. If you have children that radio in, we have a family with 3 children. We're going to need some help with getting them in. There will be a guest waiting for you, a host waiting for you when you walk in the doors that will take you to the children's building. Hopefully they've parked you at the children's building, so you will be taken in the children's building. You will immediately be taken, because you're a first-time guest visitor, and you have children that you want to drop off. They will take you immediately over to the guest service table to check you in and get the record of your children so that you can receive your tag that you'll be able to check your children up after the service that you go to. And then after that time, that host will then walk you down the hallway and take you to the church service, where when you walk in the main doors, there will be 4 people standing in the main doors that will greet you, and they'll let them know that you're a first-time guest because you've been given a package with a gift in it. You filled out the cards to bring it back with you. They will ask you if you have a particular place you'd like to sit. You want to sit down front? Would you like to sit in the back? Usually we call that right there. Are you a Pentecostal? You'd like to sit up front. If you're a Baptist, we have a place in the back for you. So that's just me that says that. Nobody, I haven't paid them. Nobody will say that yet. They are then showed a seat. Then they are greeted specifically not to be stood up, but we always have a person that will get up, and it's usually our connections pastor now, Johnny, will come up and he will say, I want to welcome all of you that are guests today. We're so thankful that you are here. We've been preparing and looking for you all week long. I hope that you have met some of our guests and greeters in the parking lot and those people out there that want you to become a part of Carterville Christian Church. So if you've not been to the guest services yet, before you leave this morning, please stop out there and leave us your name. We have a gift for you, and we'd like to be able to follow up with you. So when you do that, then on Monday morning, our first time, our guest services minister has your name. He connects you with a person. We have a person that will deliver cookies to your house. And you remember I said to people in Grove, Oklahoma, about 50 miles from our church, they got cookies. We don't do that for everybody, but that day he walked in and out of the blue. You didn't get cookies? Well, I told you you weren't getting cookies. I think I made that very specific when you walked in. You did get the thing. You did get greeted. You got the cup. You got everything that what I said. You saw it. I mean, it was the summertime, so there might not be quite as many people there, but you saw that that all had happened before you. And people that live that far away don't get it. He just felt like he just came and said, I just wanted to look good at this guy. What we found out was the guy, I wrote him a note then. That day, I wrote a note to the family. He got back and this guy went because this guy is a retired preacher from a small church about 20 miles south of where we're at. He retired in Grove, Oklahoma because he had cancer, but now he's been healed of cancer. And they want to go to church somewhere. They don't like the church in Grove, and so they drove up to Joplin and they attended 4 different churches. Well, this Wednesday, now that was 2 weeks ago, this Tuesday, yesterday, Johnny came running in my office. He said, you're never going to guess the conversation I just had. And I go, well, tell me what happened. He said, I just got on the phone with Dave Powell. He's the guy that visited here 2 weeks ago. He's the retired preacher from the Neil Show. He's the guy that had cancer. I said, yeah. He says, he and his wife, I felt it. I just felt in my heart. I don't need to send them. I need to call them. I need to call them. We had no idea what was going on. He said, I need to call them. So instead of sending an email, picked up my phone, called them, and he said, the guy goes, Dave goes, yeah, we're here in Joplin right now. We're down here from there. We came up here to shop and eat today. We're right here. And Johnny said, well, I just wanted to call you. This is what I mean. He says, oh, I know who you are. I didn't forget you. Johnny's about 5'6". He weighs about 250 pounds. He has a long beard. He looks like a gnome out on your front yard. And so he goes, I know who you are. You got man, we really appreciate you, man. We could really tell you were genuine. That you really like what you're doing up there. He says, man, I love what I'm doing. But I just want to call you and thank you. And Dave, he said, let me put you on speakerphone. And so he put him on speakerphone there. And Dave said, I just want you to know right now, my wife said, I can look at she had tears in her eyes. You want to know why? And Johnny was telling me, he says, I'm such a good speaker over the phone. And I go, no, you're not. He goes, he said, Dave said, my wife right now, we have visited 4 churches in Joplin. We want to go to church in Joplin. And not one church, because we're from Grove, Oklahoma, cared to follow up on us. And I said this right now, we don't usually do that. But my first impressions minister said on Monday morning, I felt like I wanted to deliver cookies to Grove, Oklahoma. My connections minister, who then gets the ball, always from the first impression, he gets all these names from him, he said, I felt like I wanted to call him on the phone. And they had a long conversation. They talked about VBS. They're going to drive over and come back to just see VBS. I don't know if they'll ever show up. But that's what we do for you. And so we follow up on every guest with a personal call on Monday through cookies. If you're not there, the cookies have a note on them. If you're not there, as they knock on the door, all callers know, you've given us your cell phone number. They will call your cell phone just to let you know, hey, I'm at your house. I know you're not here. I'm dropping off some cookies at your front door. I just want you to know those are there. If those cookies aren't there when you get home tonight, you let us know somebody's taking cookies off the front porch. And a lot of them will go, well, we got teenagers that probably won't be there. Just let us know. We'll get you some more cookies. And so that's the conversation. I send a note every day. I used to write them out hand. Now I'll send them to them on personal message on Facebook if they have that. Or through our database, I'll send a text. But I would send everybody a personal message. I simply ask them, thank them for being our guest today. I hope you have a great experience. I hope you're already making plans to be back with us next Sunday. I have rarely not gotten back in contact with, and I have rarely yet had anybody tell me that they didn't love Carterville and that they were not planning on coming back. That's our process to get you to come back to church. It starts in the parking lot. Because I figured this right here. The first 15 seconds is when a first impression is made. And you know the old adage, you can't make. And that's it. No more. It's right there. So when they pull on our parking lot, there are people waiting. There are people directing. There are men and women out there. And they work. I see them working the cold. I went out there one Sunday this last year when it was freezing cold and I wasn't speaking. I went out there to work with them. You should have seen them all. Oh, sissy preachers here today. Yeah, what are you doing out here? They all making fun of me, But what happened, you should have seen people that were like guests that had been coming for a few weeks, and you see the senior pastor standing in the parking lot directing traffic. Come on in here. I had one of the greeters tell me one morning, he said, you know what, you've preached 100 sermons here. The best sermon I've ever seen yet was the day you walked out in that parking lot. I said, well, I wasn't preaching that day. He goes, that's the point. You were a lot better out there than you were on the stage. They ever say that to you? No, they love you, Tyler.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they take every chance they can. Let me just stop. Does anybody want to ask a question? I could talk all night long about this. I'm excited about the church. I'm excited about what you can do. Yes, ma'am?
How important do you feel that it is to choose like a target demographic, and how did you do that?
Well, we chose the target demographic, first of all, by looking at the demographics of Jasper County, which at that time was 35 years old. We chose it then, secondly, to knock it back down because we realized to choose that demographic, we were choosing people that had a future. They had children. And so the buy-in for them, if we could take care of our children's ministry and make it the best children's ministry in Southwest Missouri, the buy-in would be so much easier for you to bring your 3 kids. If you don't have any children, our buy-in narrows down. You still may be lost, but the buy-in narrows down. And now we have to do special and extra things. There has to be extra programming for you, which we really don't like extra programming. And not because we don't like our job. It's just that a lot of times you're doing extra programming to reach a very small demographic of people. And you're spending all your money in places where it would be better spent to be able to reach anybody between 21 and 35 that have children. So we hate to, although we will in closed doors and not in front of people, to say that we target someone, because then that usually makes somebody else mad, that you don't care about us. No, we care about you. But we understand that this is our best and biggest open door. And even better than that, we go, our best open door is a 23-year-old and 30-year-old single mother. That's the one that we know we can catch. We've been told to go fishing. I love to fly fish. I go down to Roaring River as much as I possibly can, and when you show me the lure that will catch me a fish, I'll use it all day long. And I'll catch fish. You tell me, hey, change out lures, you're going to be crazy. I'm catching fish. And so that's why we do what we do. That doesn't mean we don't care about other people. One of the things we did was we wiped out everything we did at Carterville Christian Church, except for what happens on Sunday morning. It's all about Sunday morning. So we did away with every other program at Sunday morning. That was pain. Then we started putting them back in as the need arose. We were a church your size. We decided we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. But we will do the things that will draw in this group of people. And then as that began to expand, then we started to add things on. But to us, the mantra is still all about Sunday morning. So, yes, sir.
It's really hard to ask questions sometimes, especially questions and communicate them clearly on the fly.
Sure.
I completely epically failed this at work, and it was in front of the entire IT organization, which was awesome. But I'm going to try to do this right. Getting them in the door isn't hard.
No.
It's easy.
Yes.
If you have good marketing and you have lots of finances,
Yes.
you can get anybody to come and be a participant in our church. How and what is your strategy? And this is the part that I am most passionate about and the most intent on, is how do we get the people that participate, and even when they're coming in, to grow up spiritually beyond the point of I accept Jesus and I'm willing to take Him as my Lord and Savior and then continue to live my life exactly how I always have. How do you get them to grow up spiritually to the point where they then are turning around and taking it upon themselves to make disciples. I know that 99% of that job is the Holy Spirit, but on the other hand, if all we do is continue to feed them spiritual milk, and only expect Sunday to turn around, we know that strategy isn't working. And I've been talking with people that are in campus ministry, and anyway, how can I help them figure out a good strategy to turn that part around, where people really are growing up spiritually, and they're not showing up at the campus house or the university campus, and they're just, as immature as the day they were born, as far as spiritually speaking.
Sure. Well, first of all, I would say, I would not disagree to embarrass you in any way, but I would say, I don't think you need any money at all, really. We don't spend a lot of money on some of the things that you may think we do. We do not market. We use social media.
That's not the part of my question.
Okay. I want to get to that.
That was just
No, but yes, because we don't market, we don't spend money that way. But what we do, see, now to get to that answer, what we do is, as the vision caster, my first responsibility is to keep that vision of spiritual growth before everybody at every time. I have a minister who is constantly working on getting people into life groups, because that's where we're going to get you to grow. Our triangle that I didn't go any farther with, our triangle, which is equal at the top, it's with Jesus. We want you to be with Jesus. That's the call of evangelism. That's the call that I will make every Sunday. Those are those invitations that I will do every week, because I want you in Jesus. The second part of that triangle is in community. That is where we stress to you that you will grow spiritually. And so we provide you with, I provide every Sunday morning, I provide you with my own personal Bible reading program. Now, we talk about that often at times within a service to remind you that you can always go on my Facebook site, which is free, my Instagram, which is free for you to be on, but in reality, I'm marketing you to get you to go to mine, because what I'm going to use it for is to get you to get into the Word of God deeper and in community. We have added so many people this year into life groups. John came in, in the morning time with a new process of working and getting people in, reminding them almost every Sunday that if you're not in a life group, we want to challenge you to get into this life group. If you would either go online, because we have an app that you can sign up, you can go to the guest services and sign up, or you can call the church office and we will place you in this week in a life group. Your life group will be by location and or age, or if you prefer, you already know, I want to be in this life group, we will contact those people. Their next step is they'll contact you. Each life group leader knows that when I get a name, I'm going to contact those people within the week. If I have not, Johnny is keeping track. It will come up on his database that he's given that assignment to you. It will pop up the next Monday or the week from when he gives it to me. Have I contacted them? He contacts me. Did you call that family yet that wants to be in your life group? Oh no, well, I wanted to send you this gentle reminder to do that. So we know that as a group of people ourselves, we have to be pushing all the time. It is a part of that process that we have to do. Then the last thing of that triangle is in mission. We want you to be with Jesus, with Jesus, in community, and on mission. And so the challenge is the things that we wiped away, that we have brought back, are those things that we do so that you can have the opportunity to work mission within your home, your street, and your community. Then we have the mission worldwide. Anybody can go on a mission trip when we offer them. We offer about 4 different service projects within a month, every month of the year. We offer more outside of that, but there are 4 every month that you can go on, that you can serve. The big thing of it is the challenge, I believe, from the stage, from the prophet did. And I do that constantly. Our sermons are planned out. I write my own, my other person writes his own, but we plan them out. Our worship is planned out to each sermon. The last 3 sermon series that we have done, 4, all have a song that is the theme song for that. It may not be answering completely, but the issue then finally is this. That is the angst from the first century church to the 21st century, 22nd century church.
So your strategy is that you and the eldership will basically form sub-leaders
Yes.
in the life that are leaders of the life groups.
Yes.
And you keep tabs on them, who then make sure that that the work is progressing,
Yes.
and that people are learning, and that the leaders are teaching right. And
Yes.
okay, so that I think is a good model. That's what I was trying to figure out. What is the strategy as far as making sure that people are growing spiritually and not just
Each life group leader is given a password into our database, and they can only go to their life group page, but they are to check in every week after life group to check in to who was there. Johnny's job is to do a once-a-month process of contacting. Life groups in the summertime are kind of open. Our life group only meets for grilling out in the summertime. So that's because I kind of like that. So I'm a leader of my life group. I'm a terrible life group leader. I am. I'm just terrible. I want to preach. So for me to sit down and ask you a question and just sit there, I'm like, oh, please answer. Somebody answer. Somebody answer. Pass me another cupcake. Somebody answer the question. But Johnny's process then with me is I'm supposed to report to Johnny every week who was in my life group. And his question would be, have you seen them at church? And if I can say, yes, I've seen them at church, then we know they're still in church. Why aren't they at your life group? My responsibility to find out why they're not in my life group, not Johnny's. I'm the life group leader. So far he has not gotten on to me about that. I've done okay with following up with people. My wife does. She does the follow-up. Did you?
So kind of a follow-up to Andrew's question. How do you offer spiritual assessment?
We did for a long time. We were a failure with them.
What did she say?
How did we offer and did we offer spiritual analysis and assessment tests? And we failed miserably at it. So, we weren't going to keep doing it. We just failed. We just couldn't do it. Matt tried it. When he was the connections minister, I think Andy tried it. And Andy came in and go, this is not working. It's okay. When two guys tell me that, it's not working for us. Now, if Johnny walks in tomorrow and says, I want to do a spiritual analysis, assessment for people, we're going to go, okay, but here's what the other two guys said that was wrong with it, so you're going to have to come and do it better. But we're going to let him do it if he wants to do it. Yes, ma'am.
What does that mean?
It's a test that you can take, usually online. Now, you can go online and answer certain questions and give, usually now, you can check off or you can give like 1 to 4. 4 means I really love this. I love to serve the meals at church. We do a thing. And so you go through this assessment of answering these questions, they'll come back and tell you, you have the gift of hospitality. They may tell you have the gift of mercy. And then when we find that out, that you have the gift of mercy, who do I want to go to the hospital? So we would have put you, and we did that for a while. We had a man that just said, I love the hospital call. Okay, then you're in charge of our hospital situation. And then he passed away. And we've never been able to pick that back up. But we also have a large staff that at any time today, while I'm leading, a guy from my life group was electrocuted. And I just called Johnny. I said, I'm leaving town. You need to go see him. And Johnny said, I'll be there. And then he called me. It's about to the knee. He called me and said, he's going to be all right. Wasn't as bad as what they thought at first. He'll probably be at home tonight. Has a concussion. Everything went well. So usually now it's staff that does that. But we do have people all the time. The elders say, hey, if somebody's in the hospital, just call us. We'll go. But we failed miserably at that. Gosh, that kind of reminds me. We need to maybe do it again or something. Yes, sir.
I have two, and they're very quick answers. I don't need long answers. One is the average age of your eldership, and the other one is, we'll go answer that one first.
Well, I'm trying to think. One of us is 65. One of us is almost 62. One will be 50. 2 will be 50, and 2 are 40.
So about 50.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. 50.
Young guys.
Yeah. Young guys.
Well, they say number all the time.
Yeah.
Your life groups, do any of them meet on Sunday morning?
We have had some that did, yeah, because
Or do they participate in the children, more of the children's ministry than?
we keep track of that. We keep track. One of the jobs of connection ministers is to keep track of where people are involved. So there's a constant running of checking basically that out. But we have had, first of all, groups that want to meet on Sunday. We have groups that meet at church because our church is out, and we offer babysitting on Sunday night, Monday night, and Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, we have a lot of groups that will try to meet at the church because if they have babies, we have babysitting for them. If they have children, the children are there. My life group meets on Wednesday night. We have everybody that, well, we have one family, two families that have children. They would drive their children out, drop them off, run over to our house, and we are very specific how long we meet. Life group's not all even long. It's going to end at 8:15. So you get back out at 8:30 to church. So, and then on that, we have a list of all volunteers. And that list, as a volunteer, you check in every Sunday morning at whatever area you're at. So we could easily look down and go, who's volunteering and how many people are involved in life groups and how many people are volunteering. So
Maybe I have a third question. You never mentioned the word deacon tonight.
yeah, we don't have any deacons. Again, that's how we do it. They used to meet until they finally said, why are we meeting in here? Why are we doing this? And we said, yeah, we don't know either. So, now do we have men that serve as deacons? Yes, we do. We have women that serve as deacons. We have most all of our volunteers, you could say, could be deacons in our church because that's how good they are. We have some of the most incredible volunteers. So, but we don't elect deacons anymore. So, I always go in. It wouldn't work for him, but it works for us. So, we have such a young congregation, a lot of them don't know what it is, but they know they're serving somewhere. Because they're always challenged to serve every week. You got to serve somewhere in this church. I'm big on the parking lot. I want people in my parking lot. Because you know what, maybe you can't teach. You can't teach, especially if you can park. Get out there and park people. Then the other thing is we need people to rock babies. You can't teach, but I can rock a baby. I mean, I like it, but I can rock a baby. So, we'll be out rocking babies. So we don't have. We've had people go, I can't believe that, or things like that. It's working for us right now. We may, someday, we'll go, we got to change that. So, with somebody else. Yes, ma'am?
As far as your life groups and childcare and all of that, your groups that meet on different nights, do they rotate in like a volunteer position?
No,
they're things like that, or you have paid staff for childcare?
Yeah, you have to apply like a job for childcare, and you're paid, I think, $8 an hour.
And you have childcare for each night of the week that you
No,
have?
no, just Sunday night, Monday night, and Wednesday night.
Right, I know, I'm saying, but for each of those nights, you
Yes,
have
it's childcare.
groups or
It's childcare.
life groups, you
Yes.
have childcare available.
Yes. And you can meet any night you want, sure, you can do, and we
Childcare is
do.
available.
Yes, we have a couple of life groups that have their children at their house with them. You can do that, we don't care. It's Sunday night, they do that. Yeah. So, but those are the nights that you can offer that. So I should say that we only have child care on Sunday night, Monday night, and Wednesday night. We also have Bible studies in them meet on Sunday night, Monday night, and Wednesday night. By meaning that, we have certain people that have been protected by the elders that will lead a Bible study like, we always have usually a woman that will lead a Beth Moore study. And we have men that will maybe meet sometimes in the morning time and or the evening time. Some of our elders at times. Thank you very much. Some of the elders sometimes will lead Bible studies on men-related things that's already set up, so it's a revolving thing for them.
So, sorry, side note, piggybacking on that, do you have specific groups like a women's group and a men's group? I mean, not to just be for Bible study, but like overall.
No, we do, yes. Those are the things that we did away with, that it's time. We brought that. We have women's ministry. We're having to redo the leader of that right now. We have a women's ministry and a men's ministry. Yes, ma'am.
Do your life groups meet year-round, or like
They can. They can, but as I said, summertime, we're a little more lax on it. Although, every Sunday in the bulletin, you receive this, no matter what, every week, there are the questions and there's the applications that you can take with you. So that just in case you want to meet,
you don't know the questions before you go.
Yes, oh yeah. You have the questions. You get the questions. If you're everybody gets questions. Everybody.
That's handy, then they have better answers.
That's right. So there are people that come in, and with my life group, don't you know what they're ready to do? Yeah, but you didn't say anything about number 4. You realize I don't read my notes when I'm preaching, so you're lucky I said anything that's here. I just got the whim and just take off. So, but no, so that every week you get a note, you get the notes, you get applications. So sometimes you still get it. So you still have to So sermons still have to be done on Tuesday afternoon. So, yes, ma'am.
Robert, you talked a lot about how you're bringing people in and things. This church is losing people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something in a way of effect that there's somebody that keep kind of track of people that, oh, well, the shepherds haven't been here for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well,
Is somebody going to contact those shepherds?
If
if
there's
there's something going on?
you have to realize right now, when the same thing happened to Carterville, yeah, that's a hole that sometimes are going to be left out. And so in your transition time right now, that may be a little harder, especially, of course, again, smaller. You may be able to look around and somebody you hope is noticing that. Now, let me tell you why they won't notice the shepherds aren't here. They're trying to put out so many other fires that people are starting. They can't notice who is not here. They're trying to put out fires all the time. I won't even go into details about the fires that Carterville had to put out. But for a while, the elders were so, because there was no senior pastor, they were, yes, people left. And I, you know what? You have a high-profile staff member leave under the greatest conditions. There'll be people that take the opportunity to leave. Now, we didn't see a great, exodus when Andy left because it was under the best circumstances it possibly could. The last Sunday, he was there, he preached. So, it was just like if everything was, done above board. So, that is an issue. Now,
Well, I know, but I have tried to pay attention.
yeah,
And if I can,
yeah,
I will make contact through like Facebook.
yes.
Hey, I've missed seeing you
Yes.
the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I would commission each and every one of you to do that here. That's what we commission people through our life groups. We have that opportunity because you can't take every Sunday and tell me, hey, look around, if so-and-so's not here, give them a call. But in a life group situation, we can. And that's why they asked me, again, I'm not in a position to do that, but my wife will check. She looks around. As a matter of fact, she's encouraged all of our life group members to sit around her. And so really on Sunday morning, I can look over and go, there's most all of our life group members right there. Now, that still doesn't answer your question because there's a couple other things that I would interject also for us as we grow. We have to sometimes make a decision about who we will go after, because if somebody's mad at us, it's kind of like the prodigal son. Sometimes you have to let him go.
You don't care why or...
No, we care why. Yeah, we care. We usually know why they left before they leave. We know why they left. But you have to let them go. Now, if the reason why was something that you just have to go, we're going to do a tithing series, and we're going to challenge our people to tithe, and they get mad because they don't want to tithe. Who's at the wrong here? Me, because I teach on tithing, or the person that gets mad and leaves? If you think it's me, go ahead and tell me, because I want you to show me biblically, because I teach on tithing, I'm wrong. I can tell you every time I teach on tithing, you know what happens? Somebody gets mad, and they leave. We just did a huge 5-week tithing series. We made people mad, and they left.
And the giving increases.
What?
And the giving increases.
And the giving increased by about $10,000. And you know what I said? I've got to let them go. I'm not going to chase down somebody that's mad at me, because I'm going to teach the word. Now, if they're lost, I'm going to go after them every time. Because I see them, and again, this is just me. I'm not asking you to do this at all. I see the difference between the lost sheep and the prodigal son. The lost sheep, the shepherd went and got him, right? What did the dad do with the prodigal son? He gave him what he wanted and let him go. But then every day, he prayed he'd come back. And he came back. Now, I haven't seen a lot of people come back from the tithing series, but that's what we prayed about. We prayed about because we know they left because we taught on tithing. So, some of the people that have left our church have just left to go to other churches. In turn, we have a lot of people who come to our church because they came from other churches. So we're kind of like, I don't like it. I don't like to trade with other churches. And I tell people all the time, if you're mad at us, please go to First Baptist Church. I like to see those churches split. So I don't say that. I don't say that. I usually say, go out to CCO. It's the big church. Give them problems. So, but I have to make that decision as a leader sometimes. That doesn't mean we don't go after people. We do. The elders would, anytime, if I said, hey, I haven't seen the shepherds in 3 weeks at this elders meeting, would somebody follow up? One of the guys may know, oh, they've been on vacation 1 week. She was sick 1 week. And the next week, they went to a softball tournament to see their granddaughter play softball. Okay, there's where they've been. Okay. So we do have a process, but yes, I would commission
Don't
each
say
one.
you missed them,
What?
but don't say that.
Oh, no.
What?
What?
You missed it.
Oh, we try to follow up and tell them that, yeah. We let them know. A lot of times, it's usually people like that, you know, we give a Facebook message to them or anything else, a personal message, hey, I know you guys been gone for a couple of weeks, we just want you to know that. Or sometimes if we know, I mean, we had one guy that did, he got mad at us. He told us, he said, hey, next weekend I won't be here, we're going to Silver City. Okay. Then he wasn't there. Then the next week he posted on Facebook, hey, we're going here to do this weekend. And then the next week he did the same thing. There's an example, we went and did something else. And then he got on Facebook and said, my church doesn't even care where I'm at. Well, wait a minute, you told us all where you were at each week. You got on Facebook and said, so I called him. I was on vacation. It always happens when I'm on vacation. My wife says, we're going away Friday. She says, you know something's going to happen. You know you get a phone call. And I go, yeah, I know. I'm driving from Eureka Springs home, and I call him on the phone. And I say, Jim. Yeah, Robin. I said, Jim, what's this stuff you put on Facebook? And he immediately says, I'm sorry, I know it's wrong. I said, Jim, you act like I don't care about you, but you told us each time where you're going. You told me. I'm not going to be here, then you put on Facebook. I'm going here, and I'm going there. I read your Facebook stuff, so I know where you're at. So people don't realize and think about that sometimes. I know where you're at. You're at the softball field with your children. And I'm going to preach about not missing church each week. Go to softball. So, well, I don't know about you guys. I told them tonight. Joplin, Missouri, baseball, softball, sports every weekend. Wow. I love sports. I hate it now, but our children get to do it. Matter of fact, our children love going to church. They love going to Bartlesville. A couple of them said, at that age when we got there, they were young, and said, we don't want to play sports on the weekend. We love going to Bartlesville. We love going to church. So, yes, ma'am.
Do you have a high percentage of people that join the life groups, or is there still a lot that don't get involved?
No, we have a lot that join. I would say we have more than 50 or 60% of people that are involved. When I mean that, adding in our life groups along with, if you were volunteering in our children's ministry in a specific area that we can know you were there every week, sometimes we count that because you will be meeting, this is your group, you will meet during the week to discuss what's going to happen this next Sunday. You'll be on the phone with each other to discuss what's going to happen. So really within those teams that meet, my wife teaches every other month, and she's in a team of people that meet. And so they talk then their month. They're talking each week about what's going to happen within their lesson via, texting to each other. So they're in contact almost like a life group and in contact with each other all week long. We would love for you to be in a life group because we know it's the place you can just go sit down. And you don't have to lead to be involved. You can go sit down and just get community. So we do stress to every person there because we believe with Jesus in community. So we want you in a community somewhere with that. And just because we built a new building, I said earlier, we didn't have any Sunday school classes. We don't have any rooms left now, again. So that's why we're going to 3 services. I was told, I get told. I was told in a meeting this week when that decision was made among the executive team, I was told, don't stand up and tell the people we're out of room. You tell the people we want to offer more opportunity to reach out to the lost people in Southwest Missouri. So, they guide me. The prophet sometimes has to use, God uses somebody else to talk to the prophet. And they told me, don't say it that way. I go, you got it. So, yes, ma'am.
As far as the prophet thing is concerned, what does our church family do when we don't have a senior minister?
Well, you get on your knees and start praying for God to give wisdom to the people that are your leaders spiritually in looking for that prophet.
So we look for a minister and then we cast a vision out
Well, I mean, it would be nice. I'm telling you, you're at the same place we were. And I love to cast vision for situations. So for me, it worked out best that it wasn't a vision already cast because I wanted to be the caster. So I'm just saying me again. But would it mean something that the vision was set in place and it was solid for anybody to come? Yes. That would be a wonderful thing to say, here's what we want to do. Here's where we want to go. And everybody's ready to hold your ladder and go, wow. You're just saying, day one, you're running. You know, luckily for me, I lived there. So I was running when I got there. That's sometimes the one thing I have to say. That's the disclaimer that I would say. I don't have to move to Bartlesville to get to know you so that you can trust me. But what I would hope is that these men that are going to help select and bring that person in or whoever that is, they would have sat down with that person enough and feel confident with that person enough to be able to look at you and go, we trust him. Does that mean he's never going to make a mistake? I'm not. I'm perfect. They tell me what to say sometimes, how to say it. We evaluate my sermon after the first service and the second service every Sunday. Somebody is listening to tell me, and usually one of them on that committee is my wife. And she will come to me and immediately say, don't say this the next service. Yes, ma'am. The tech guy will come and go, you probably need to leave this part out. It just served no purpose at all. And the worship minister, I don't listen to him anyway, but he makes suggestions. So I make fun of him all the time. He's a lot bigger than me. He's not better looking, but he's a lot bigger than me.
The elder selection process.
Yes.
I understand that for the most part, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like what you said. But the part I didn't understand, I think you used the word affirmation process.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, at the very end.
Everybody goes, yeah.
No. We give everybody a card. It's in your bulletin when you come in. We ask you that if you don't know the person, that you don't vote at all. If you're not a part of the partnership of Carterville Christian Church, another word we use instead of membership. If you're a member of something, you feel like you've paid your dues, and or you don't have to pay your dues. But when you're a partner, you're in this together. And so if you're a partner with us, going through the process, I didn't mention this, we do have what's called Discover C3 class that you go through, and now we're transferring that over to online, but I'll finish the question. So these cards are handed out at the end of the service, and this person is brought up before you. Sometimes they've been interviewed a couple of weeks beforehand, or like the week before. They will be interviewed on stage by me, ask questions of themselves. How long have you been here? What has your spiritual journey been like? What has been one of the most devastating things in your life that you had to work through spiritually? And what has been one of the most exciting things that you worked through spiritually? So that people can begin to know them that, wow, you lost a child. Wow, you've been married for what? 25 years in today. Wow. That's something. So we ask specific questions so that people can see into their spiritual lives. How many children do you have? We don't think it's important, but what do you do? So people have an idea of what you do in life.
I guess that confused me because it sounded like all the vetting had been done already, and all the current elders or leaders were, as citizens, fully on board.
Yes.
And so, I was just trying to figure out.
Well, the affirmation is just giving you that opportunity to agree with the elders on it. And I think, I'm going to be pretty sure in saying this, the only answer on the card is yes. Because you're affirmed. If you don't affirm it, then it doesn't matter. This is going to be an elder. Because by the time he gets there to be a year, he's either quit himself or we have had to sit down and have a hard talk with him. So what we're basically saying to you is we would just ask you to affirm the decision that we've already made. Yeah. Okay. You'd have to be there because you're talking about I could leave out a lot. So if you were there to see the process in person, then that would probably help. So
It kind of like gives the people an opportunity to get
It's-
behind
yeah.
that elder and say, yes,
Yes.
we affirm this elder, and we are going to pray for this elder, and we are going to respect this elder
Yeah.
as God's individual to help lead.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and that's a big deal, I think. It really
Yeah.
is.
Well,
It's
and
hard to-
yeah, and what's helped us is nobody's ever want to quit except for health reasons, you know. So, yes, ma'am.
Since you've checked Dickens off and
Yeah.
they're done, what's your rule of looking at an eldership and the amount of people that participate in the worship or called a partnership and say we need to have 6 elders if we've got 200 people? Do you have kind of a rule of how we're
yeah.
going to care, how we're going to watch?
Yeah, I can certainly say there's 2 less. I mean, there's you not having enough if a church grows so fast. And then the other side is having too many. And then you have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And so we realized that we, in our process with these other guys, the reasons are because we begin to feel the stress of what you're saying. We're not able to completely take care of everybody. And so that's why we approached these men who were long-term partners of the church and talked to them. And they have been Sunday school teachers to children, and working with teenagers and working in other areas of the church. So I would say for us, to be right, and I think everybody feels this way, we would like to have those 2 guys on and have 10 instead of the 8 that we
So
have.
you want 10 for 900?
1,000 to 1,100 people.
And do you feel that covers or
I think it does because we have also,
also got staff?
yes,
That
because
breaks it
we
down.
have staff who then has our youth ministry or our student ministry is led through life groups also that meet every Wednesday night. And each one of those life group leaders on Wednesday night meets with the youth ministry staff to talk about the issues. Matter of fact, one of the things that happened again, I know I don't have to be all privy to everything, but they went through the life group leader to direct this young person's life, letting the life group leader shepherd them in the decision that they knew that had to be made with the family. So, for instance, you know, if we had a young man who ran over a lady Monday morning, and she's going to be okay. They're very forgiving. It was 5:40 in the morning. He's going to summer weights, and she's walking her dog. She stepped out between a car. He never saw her. You know, the youth ministry took over, and down through their system, then the life group leader that knew him the best was the one in contact with the family. So,
Which is the way it should be.
should. Right. And you know, as I said, we feel the pressure that we need more. We want more.
But what I feel like I can hear is happening here is you have lots of staff, you have 8 eldership. You have staff, you have an executive pastor who's looking at the business.
Yes.
That's taking care of the checks.
Yes.
That's looking at the other, that your eldership, although they are aware,
Yes.
they're not having to spend nights taking care of
Yes.
things like that.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not just business, it's other things too that
Yes.
you have within the church.
Yes.
So the question really is, when it's a smaller church,
Yeah. How do you do that? We didn't do that back
yeah,
when
did
we
you
were
hire
Yeah.
an executive pastor first?
No, I wouldn't know. No, you need a senior pastor. You need a leader. And that's what happened 10 years ago. I did all that. The elders did all that because we were running 200. But we had the dream of what would happen when we got to 1,000. Within a few months, I believe it was October of the year that I started, 2007, the bank called and said, we're changing your loan, and the loan for your building is going up from like $6,000 to $8,000, and we were hardly getting $6,000 a week in offerings. So I remember we started searching for a loan somewhere. One of them was we had to fill out. It was going to be a Christian-based CDF probably at that time, loan, and they wanted to know what our dreams were. So I walk into this meeting, we all, I had my dreams written down there. All of us said the same thing. Within 5 years, we wanted to be reaching 600 people. So we started small. We started doing things small. My sharing with you today is what happened when your church is running 1,200 and you have 2,000 for Easter. But this is where you can get, because you have the people lost in this community to go reach out to. So you need to start with, as I said, a strong leader. Get his ladder up there. Let him and the elders begin to dream about who and what do we need next. When we get to 300, what kind of children's minister, or how do we need to help in the children's ministry? What do we do about technical things? Who's running the youth ministry right now may be doing that, and that's great because he may be good at that. But boy, by the time we get to 300, he's got 40 or 50 kids that he's having to take care of on a Wednesday night and see that grow. They average on Wednesday night 120 to 130 seventh graders through. That's our youth minister doesn't do anything technically. The tech minister has to take care of all of that, but he has a volunteer staff who will help him out on Wednesday night. So it's been a long, hard road. Yeah, I spent a lot of nights. Jamie?
I find it interesting that you said that your median is 40.
40 now, probably. Right now, the carpet.
But I find it interesting that you have a 65-year-old, 2 62-year-old.
1 62-year-old, yeah.
And 3-year-old people leading.
Well, for me.
I guess interesting to me, the median of the church is 40-ish.
And we don't have any, we have 2 40-ish elders.
Right.
But see, we need a 30-ish elder. Because I want somebody that knows what a 30-year-old's thinking about when he sits down at the table and I go, I want to do this. When I'm getting up from the table, and he goes, you need to act like you're younger, first of all. And so, we feel that pressure. Those are the questions we ask. I would never say, I don't want you to think that I was going to go into an elders meeting and they're all patting me on the back or we're going, we got no problems. And those are questions that we ask at elders meetings. What are you doing? What are we doing to get the 20-year-olds back in this church? And I'm not saying that if you walked into our church on Sunday morning, you look around, I think you feel very comfortable. You see a lot of young people there, and you see a lot of premature gray people there. So, and I can take you to certain places, and we can show you, much older people than me, but you're going to see a pretty 30-ish to 40-ish crowd. That's what you're going to see. So we're that's why I said the meeting that we're having is to get back and try to figure out how we get 20-year-olds coming to this church again. And I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying we want to get our target back to there. So I may have to change some things. That's what the questions are going to be about. Yes, ma'am?
As far as, you said you basically stopped all programming except for Sunday morning and you made that your focus.
Yes.
How long, roughly, did it take for that to become a successful model?
We were probably the only church in the world to do that. I mean, we just went and said we want to be as simple as we possibly can. And people would walk in. Well, we want where are your Sunday school classes? And you're, at that time, we started Sunday school classes because, once you think, that was Sunday morning. But as we began to grow, and those Sunday school classes had to find, I didn't finish the story. When I went to that class and said, we're going to go to 2 services, they immediately said, okay, so we're going to do an 8 o'clock service and then have Sunday school and have a 10:30 service, right? And I said, well, no, we're going to do simultaneous Sunday school and church. And what that means is you're coming right now at 9 o'clock because they were just doing 9 o'clock and 10:30. So you're going to come to Sunday school at 9 o'clock, then you're going to go to church at 10:30. They didn't like that. I go, well, we're not changing. You're not changing anything you do. We're not changing anything. And so I tried that and I explained that, and you realize you're not doing anything different. There are other people that are going to have to flip-flop, but they're all going to be the younger people that we're going to ask personally if you would flip-flop what you're doing so that we could do this. And they didn't like it. So.
Where did the adult visitors go during your Sunday school classes?
Well, we don't have any, so they go to church. Yeah. And one of the things we dealt with in pain was what a volunteer that will come to the first service and volunteer and go to the 10:30 service. What do the children do? Well, how many of you have DVDs in your cars? DVD players? Anybody? I don't. I wish I had one. But you put your grandchildren in there? You have it so your grandchildren can watch a movie? You don't. You just have DVD players. Wow. You drove down the road and seen people with it. Okay, your own grandchildren. How many times will they watch, what's the Let It Go movie?
Frozen.
Yeah. If I put my granddaughters in my car, I don't have a DVD player, if I put them in my house and put that movie on all morning long, you know what they do? They sit there and watch it all morning long. Now, so we repeat what they're doing. My question to them was, do it so irresistible that when a child gets ready to go back in the second time, they change it. They do change it up. Make it so irresistible that that kid will go, I'm going to do it again. So they have some great stuff that they do because the challenge was, let's make it irresistible for the kids. So now, used to, we'll have people who will come in and ask us because they're used to going to church or Sunday school. We just have to explain we don't have room for adult Sunday school classes. It's not that we don't want them. We just don't have room for them right now. Every classroom is going to be taken up even now after building a new building. So we just moved so quickly and into that. So that's why we're going to go, I'm not supposed to say that. That's why we're going to go 3 services. So I know you go, well, that's cold-hearted. You know, we do care. But we want to try to find other ways to get you in community, get you in a life. So, yes, ma'am?
As far as, like you said, you had a major focus on your children's ministry.
Yes.
How did you, how do you keep the continuity of care for your kids? Is it the same teacher for both hours?
No,
rotation as far as teaching?
When they now,
sorry.
realize how big we are now,
right.
And then I will say that what they do now is they have a, and I hate to use this word, maybe if you don't understand it, they have a production team. What I mean, they have a stage team that will be there both services. That's the stage team. So they will be leading worship. They will be doing the main master teaching and the drama.
So they have like a group teaching and
they have a group teaching, and then they break up into different people from one hour to the next that will lead them in their life groups. That's how they do that. And they really started that a long time ago before we got in the new building so that it would not be a new thing when they went in the building. They also found that they got more volunteers if they had like 2 or 3, should I say, stage groups that would work month on and month off. But they all work together too, so that when it comes and they use all the orange material. Okay, so I do know that. And my wife, like I said, my wife loves it. And what her job is. She's a small group leader. So, and so they do switch out every month. And I don't know that loses continuity as far as children and getting to know them. Most of the schools, even now, younger and younger are going to, pods.
Yeah.
So these kids are moving around all day long in the 3rd and 4th grade.
Well, it keeps them busy.
It keeps them
not
busy.
static in one space for.
Yeah. And our children's ministry on Sunday morning will use a lot of different things.
Sure. Well, and most of the time, just based on the model that you're saying, like, the adults are only there for an hour anyways, unless they're serving and attending a service.
Yeah, that's a problem we feel, because I'm old school. Sure. And so you know what? If you've got teenagers, we have a tremendous teenage Sunday school program. And that's what we're dealing with right now. We're talking about that. What do we do with that? Because we're kind of like, well, man, this is so good, but we need that room, or we need them in here. We'd like to have them over here. And so those are the pains and conflict that we're having to work through, what to do with them, because it's so good. And yet, we'll have a parent who will come to the first service, because that's junior high class, and their children love the junior high class. And so they'll go to junior high class, and they go home, and they never come to church. Some of it, and I'm old school, so I'm going,
But your focus is on Sunday morning, so they get to pick and choose.
They get to pick and choose what they want to do.
It's not spread out through the week.
Yes. And we've made that Sunday morning for them. I mean, it's tremendous. It's so good they never asked me to come in there. So they don't want me to mess it up.
For their youth program, for their older kids, do they have, is it like a service?
On Wednesday night, it is. Okay. Wednesday night, they have
a Wednesday night service also.
Yes, they have a full worship band on Wednesday nights with a speaker.
But on Sunday mornings, it's a Sunday school class. Is it like their small groups, or is it like an individual
they get a lesson.
Sunday school teacher?
Yes. They have 2 different kinds of groups on Sunday morning. One is called Next Level. Teenagers meet at 8:30 in the morning every Sunday. Church then starts at 9. So they meet from 8:30 to 9. in a class, and then they have Sunday school class. So on Sunday morning, a teenager can go to two different things, or both of them, and then never go to church. But a lot of them do. I mean, they stay after and come. It's the junior high kids that don't get to go. If their parents go home, they'll get to go. Yes, ma'am?
So how many total people do you have on staff right now for about 1,000 people?
Oh.
And how many did you have maybe when you got to 300 or so?
Well, okay, when I started, I let go of a youth minister, so it was me and a worship leader, part-time children's minister. He was never in office. He was just there on Wednesday nights and Sunday morning. So we started out with 2 of us in an AA. That's how we started. But our elders were very progressive in saying, as we want to grow, we will add staff members. So when we added, got them a youth minister, there's 3 of us, we went within a few months to 300. And then it was like, okay, we need to hire somebody else. So when we got to 400, we hired a connections or a first impressions minister so we could get to 500. And so they've done that all the way up now. Let me go and try to figure out here real quick. I should just be able to tell you what it is. We have a senior pastor, executive pastor. We have a first impressions pastor, a connections pastor. Excuse me if you don't like the word pastor. Minister, whatever you want to call them. Then we have a family minister with 2 youth ministers, now a part-time junior high minister. Then we have 3 children's ministers because they're family ministers. Is that like 15 so far?
11.
11? Oh, I can't count.
Well, 10 and a half.
I didn't go to cars. So, then we have I think there are 15 of us that are either full-time or part-time. Then we have we have full-time custodian, building manager is what he is. He and my AA take care of all scheduling of the building. So we have, I think, 15 or 16 of us.
And is that accounting, your administrative assistants and?
No, it's not. We have 3 administrative assistants and 1 financial secretary. She is the one out of those 3 administrative assistants. We have 1 mine that's full-time, and she's the office manager, and then 3, and then they're part-time. So, and they all 3 have really great job opportunities, what they do. They're all very specific in what they do. We, in the fall, will have 4 or 5 interns. And of course, you can't gauge that. We have Ozark Christian College right there, so that's not fair. But we try to, first of all, intern our own kids. And that makes some of the kids upset. Because we will, first of all, intern our own teenagers or people that have come from Carterville. That's who we try to intern first. Knowing that they can't get a grade if they come to us, so sooner or later they're going to leave. So that's who our junior high guy is. He's one of our kids that grew up through our youth group, and now he's coming on part-time. But he's a student of Ozark.
Have y'all thought about how to measure the effectiveness of bringing a new believer to spiritual maturity and the progress there? I mean, obviously, we all look at it as you never get there, but have you ever just kind of sat around the table with the elders and thrown that out there and said, how can we measure spiritual growth? And what the success of what we're doing to getting people that direction?
Yeah, we talked about that. One of the things that I would say to you, we do not gauge spiritual growth by the numbers of our church. That only means people like what we're doing. So we only use those to let you know the process of what we went through and what levels we would say we knew we needed to move on. But Damien is part-time too, so we have more. He is part-time as a teaching pastor. He's a professor at Ozark. He does a lot of that. He talks a lot about that. He's asking us all the time of ways of people. Where do we know? We need to establish a process where we can see. But part of it is we truly believe that as you go through this triangle, that if you will finally get around to in mission, then you've got to be growing spiritually to care about mission. And I challenge people all the time. I probably challenged this here 20-some years ago. 95% of the people that go to church have never wanted anybody to Jesus Christ. So we encourage our people to baptize the people they bring. I basically, and That's not I don't want to. I basically try not to baptize anybody. You know, it's not I don't believe in it. It's that when a father comes and he brings his child, or a mother comes, we are always encouraging that they baptize them. You know, of course, we have a lot of people go, is that legal? That's what yeah, it's legal. But is it going to be okay? Is God going to, yeah, God's going to be okay with this. We really think He's going to be okay with this. And so we gauge it, I guess, in talking about it, just how many people can we get in these 4 events or programs, now as you call them, how many people are involved there? We also encourage our life groups then to be doing service projects. We as a life group choose once a fall. This fall will be really big. We choose. They will. Our first impressions guy is also the community outreach guy. He's going to supply everybody with 10 different choices through the fall that you can do. Our life group will choose a couple of those that we will do on mission or in mission to get things done in our community, or through serving. We have a food ministry. We serve the homeless down in Joplin once a month. We travel around to places we know the homeless people are out and give them food. And then we work at the Life Choices.
So one of the metrics that you use, though, is a believer who has been baptized in the process of coming to your church and moving through the life group to the point where they get involved, then turn around and so that's one metric of how you can measure that. Is there any others that y'all have?
You know, it continues to go to how deep they want to do in their involvement. Do they just want to work in the parking lot, or can we get them lead in a life group? You know, do they want to serve in greater ways in what we do? We know when somebody leads somebody else to Jesus Christ. We know who those people are. We really encourage that. We have a man, probably 4 years ago, we all went to court with him. I think he's 50-something, went to court with him because he was selling marijuana again, and he got caught again. And so he had to go. We went with him through the probation process and everything, and through that, we really got him on fire to winning some of these people. And I would suspect that, I bet you 4 or 5 times a year he baptizes. I mean, that's just one person. But for us, we're seeing, here's a guy that we had to go to court with because, of his drug problem. To now, today, just within a month ago, he baptized one of the people at our food ministry that he works at. So we do have mentally kept track of and challenge you. That's the thing I would see. But I would say to the prophet, I tell the young guys all the time, how often do you share the vision of your church? How often are you sharing the mission of your church? Well, I don't want to preach. I said, I don't have to preach about it. It just comes out. It's part of, it's going to be easy this Sunday, or not this Sunday. Next Sunday I preach. We're preaching on Peter. I get to preach on the day of Pentecost. That's not going to be hard to talk about vision. I mean, they threw me a softball slow pitch ball. All I did was hit it. So.
Are you going to dress up like Peter?
No, they've seen some pictures. I don't think I will, but I might. Now she suggested that,
You still remember?
Oh gosh, no. And all the kids got to do this sometime or another. I did it in enough places that all the children, all 7 of them, got to play a part in it. And that was funny. Some of the times getting the lamb was serious business. I'm doing it one time in the church, and the guy that was supposed to be, the kids took the lamb off, and they came back. The guy was watching the lamb, wasn't watching the lamb, and he comes running back out. And of course, I can't turn down a good line. I go, well, boys, looks like somebody didn't kill your lamb. You need to take that back out again. And they're carrying off the crowds behind laughing. So,
You started doing that here.
Here, I know, I did. Yeah.
The first time you did it was here.
Yeah.
Watching the lamb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't sing anymore, but so we have a tremendous church. If you ever got a vacation day, you want to come on over. I love Bartlesville Christian Church. We were at Candace. We were in Candace. She was a little girl here. Beautiful, blonde hair. If you go on Facebook and you follow Candace Baker, she has some beautiful grandchildren. We have beautiful grandchildren. So But we went, they planted a church, her and her husband planted a church up in Shanahan or Manuka, Illinois. And so we go up there once or twice a year. We were sitting in church last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, sometime. You don't know when. So, and we started worship, and Jamie leans over to me, and she goes, I sure do miss home. I sure do miss being in Carterville for worship. And it was great. It was great. It was very contemporary with what we do, you know. And I just got to know, because being with our people, my people, it just means the world. And you can do that. You can do that. I would encourage it that that's how you come together. You know, I tell people all the time, you'll come and you'll go, oh gosh, your music's too loud, it's too dark. What are you doing in here? And I go, that's our style. That's not their style. I have preached where the music was terrible. And they were doing it with lights and sound. I've been to churches where it was beautiful. And it was hymns. I mean, I'm old enough, I've been through it all. You know, my mom started me right up there 62 years ago. And so I've been through it all. I love it all. I love to come and worship. People will ask me, they'll say things and come say, music was loud today. I'll say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I'm going to be honest with you. I go to church and worship on Sunday morning. That's what I'm there for. And it may have been. I have to ask Jamie. I can ask her. I say, honey, was it too loud? And she'll go, yeah, it was. And I'm okay. I'll pass that on. And she knows. She'll tell people, don't ask Ron. He doesn't know. He just doesn't know. He's gone on Sunday morning. And so I'm worshiping. I wish you could come. You can watch us online. You can go back. All our sermons are online. You can go to the Carterville Christian Church YouTube channel. You can check out all the stuff. So I'm going to tell you that we do. And I can quit anytime you want me to. I just love talking about it. Now, if you visit Carterville Christian Church and you're a guest, Johnny put together it's the first segment of a video series to check into to learn about Carterville Christian Church. So when you visit us as a guest, I told you the process, but the next week, Johnny will get a hold of you and he will send you a link to the YouTube video, and you can probably find it on YouTube if you go to our page. It will be a video of myself and Johnny Templeton sitting down at the table at our church talking about our first segment. If you came to the class, what you would learn about the vision and mission of Carterville and what Carterville Christian Church believes about Jesus and God and salvation. And we do that in a sort of like a format that now you can get on and watch all the ESPN, the guys talking. You do it in a format like that right there. 14 and a half minutes long is all it is. And the amazing thing is people watch it and they go, you only talk 14 minutes. So that we do a lot of things like that. So you would receive that link so that you can go find out about it immediately. So he's pretty excited about that. He's already driven it on some people. They visited without anybody else getting it, and they're pretty excited about what it was now. So, but we're always trying. Come and visit us sometime. And I want you to know, as I said, I know my elders were. They knew I was here now. My wife and our staff, they're praying for you. They're praying for you. They want the church and the kingdom of God to grow. They want things to happen here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. A couple of guys, I said, Matt had never been to Bartlesville. Johnny has been, but Matt never has. We need to go over there sometime. We should drive over, spend the day, drive over, look around, eat at Dink's, and drive back home. So, yes, ma'am.
I just have a question about when you came to Carterville. So you talked about your elders that were in place, your leadership that was in place, and then once you are there, you talk about the new people have to go through this year-long process. The people who were already there when you got there, what process did they have to go through to get to a point where they were in sync with what you
Yeah, it took about 3 years of pain and suffering for all of us. It did. And now we look back on it. I can right away tell you some of the turning points were, I did a sermon on Joshua and the crossing the Jordan River, and of the priest that had to go down the water, and talking about to the church that the leadership are stepping down into that water for you, and we need you to follow us through that water. It was a week or two later when we still did what we call leadership meetings, which was the deacons' meetings. We were all talking about what that means for all of us to be able to go into that, because it was really more of a lesson time, maybe what it means for that. And one of the elders looked at me and he said, Robin, and this is the guy that's 65 now. He goes, Robin, he said, and he's very emotional, he grew up in this church, so he's seen things being dismantled and put back together. And he loves it, but it's painful because there are people mad at him and leaving. And he said, Robin, I'm afraid to get in the water. And I just looked at him and said, Mike, I'm afraid to not get in the water. And he said, you're right. We're getting in the water. He's the one that is, at times when it comes to spending a couple $1 million, he said, boys, I'm a gambler. Let's spend it and see what God has to do with it. So let's take our chances on God. And so we did. And we got a big loan to pay, but we never missed a payment. We paid $40,000 extra a year as an upload on it. We never missed a $40,000 payment. And so God's blessed us. It's been fun. So it took about 3 or 4 years. And there was a lot of, he loves Coke, and there was a lot of meetings I'd come into with a 6-pack of Coke and set it down and go, I know I'm going to make you mad, or I know you're already mad, so there's my peace offering. We all went through together a couple of things that we did. We went through the Mode of Matters, just to keep talking to you, as a staff, and now we do it as a church every other year. We go through the Mode of Matters, which is the color code. I reread it to myself coming here. The essence, you're red, blue, yellow, or white. All of us are. We're motivated by, that's motivation, why we do things by motivation. The eldership went through that. We always check, that's one of the things that the new guy will go through, so we know what color he is as we begin to make decisions. Reds are A to B. They're motivated by power. They're no nonsense. You can't emotionally come up to a red and try to win an argument using your emotion. You have to have facts and figures to a red. A red naturally wants to lead. They may not be the best leader, but they naturally want to lead. So you have to go along with them and find out how you give them responsibilities of leadership. If you can understand, Matt, a financial or executive pastor, is a red. I let him lead a lot of meetings. I let him lead a lot of things that we're doing, but we have talked beforehand so that it would look like if you came in there, you'd go, and this question has been asked when they were building the building by almost every construction worker who came in there. They kept asking, what's the little gray-haired guy do around here? And Matt would go, oh, he's the lead. He's the guy that's telling me what to do. I get to come out and tell you what to do. He said, but I do not make a decision until I walk into his office and tell him what's going to happen. But I let him do that. And he loved it. And so he's a red. Our children's minister is blue. Blue is a person who believes in intimacy and loyalty. They like to really think through things. They want to nurture everybody and take care of everybody. It takes her a long time to explain something to us. And so, we're sitting there going, just get it out. What do you want to do? And so, she's very much that way. And you can be a man and you're still that way. But you're very blue, you're very loyal, you're very driven to help people when you're blue. And then there are whites. Whites are peacemakers. They're very quiet sometimes. They're very introspective people. They're not just going to blurt out what they think. They're going to hold it in, but they're very intuitive. They know what's going on around the circle. You always need a white, because when we discuss something, I look at my white and I go, okay, everybody else has told us what they want to do. What do you think is the best thing to do? Our white will probably pretty much go, well, that was stupid and that was stupid, but his idea was pretty good. And that's the one we're going to do. Because the white is very intuitive, a very peacemaking type of person, but they're also very intimidating. So they're not going to always just blurt out or do what they want. They can be very intimidated type people, or you think they are, because they're just going to go, okay, if you don't want my opinion, you don't get it. And they'll just sit there. And then you have the best color of all, that's the yellows. We're motivated by fun. We just want to have fun. We fit real well in being here and being up front. Because that's just our personalities. It's not that we want it or like it. We do appear to you that we may be arrogant or cocky, and things like that. But a lot of times, if you're healthy, it's just that you realize somebody has to get up there, or you have I have a passion to speak, and I want to speak, I want to preach. And so I have that passion. And so we're not always the best leaders unless you realize your limitations. And when you realize your limitations, then you're able to lead with that. And so we understand everybody's color so that everybody understands what's going on. So we're yellows, the bad side of us, we can be very emotional, but our feelings are hurt very easily, but we won't let you know that. So, people know that a lot of times, Johnny just the other day, I made a suggestion for our first service and one needed to happen, and he just looks at me and he says, well, I don't think that's good. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's what we all should be doing for the first service. And I said, okay. He came back later going, man, I'm really sorry, I didn't hurt your feelings. He said, no, I appreciate you saying that to me. I'm not married to that. I just thought, here's an idea, I'm going to throw it out on the table. So we did that. So we know what everybody's color is, something else in that process of going through, something they all had to learn in that process of going through the pain. And it took a while. They stood up, the elders stood up to each other.
Did you lose leadership during that time? And then did you also gain leadership during that time?
If you mean eldership, no. Nope. We have not. We've only lost, and they're in the church. We had to have 2 resign because of health reasons, heart reasons.
Did you add any during that process?
Yes, ma'am. We've added 3 elders.
During the painful process?
Oh, during the painful, no, ma'am. No. We only lost 1 during the painful process because of his health. He had to have a big heart surgery, and he just said, I just want to recoup and don't worry about asking me to come back. So he resigned. So that's the only one we lost because of that. But during that time, we did not add any because we were only running 200, 300, 400. When we got to 500, we added Mark at 500, and probably about 600 or 700 we added Damien, and now 1,000 we added Doug. So in that process.
But the other ones are still there.
The others are still there. Yeah. So. And I think it's going to be coming. If you have a question, you can always get a hold of me on Facebook and follow us there. You can send it to me, PM. You can tell me that, man, our church is terrible. It's okay. I heard it before. I go home and cry. But it's okay. I don't care. We'll make it. We'll keep going, and we're going to keep going. I would like for you to keep going. And that's why I asked Rod, please let me come. Let me just share. We have been there. You understand? I don't recognize it now, but a lot of times we'll go in the worship center, and as a leadership, this reminds our staff, I'll have the staff meet in there, and I'll go. Some of you never saw this. You weren't here. Only myself, Sarah, my AA, and Keith will know this, our tech guy. There was a time we only filled up this section right here. I want you to know. You look around at some of these people that fill that section, they're pioneers. They were pioneers. Last thing, losing, we lost a lot. We found in our process of building the other building, they did a campaign, capital campaign for the first building that they built. And we found those cards. Matt did. He kept walking in, he goes, look what I found. I found all the commitment cards from the first building. And I said, let's go through them. And I said, everybody that is still here put in this pile. Everybody that's not here through death, they got mad and left. I think they had 150 cards. And we added up the families, and so we added up that number. And so we were running 1,000. He just found those, last year sometime. And he, as he's pulling them out, all we had left from that original building, were 80 people. That's all we had. So we basically realized we started a new church in a 3-year period. So I go, and remember, I lived there, so I know these people. I see them around town. I've lived there for a long time. And so I see them, and they see me. So some of them will talk to me, some of them won't. So.
Did they go somewhere else?
Yes, ma'am, they did. Yeah, so part of it's not like, they go to church. They went to, most of them either go to a Web City Christian Church or a church called Park Plaza, which I am so thankful because it's the kind of church they want to go to. So, and I wouldn't, I'd say it would change those churches, anything, because that's where they like to go.
So with that being said, now where you stand today, if you had to go back and start at the beginning again, would you start a new church?
Well,
rather than go through the pain of trying to turn a ship already moving in one direction,
yeah,
and then going in and basically.
That's the dream of all the young people.
Well, I'm just asking. No. I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying we should. I'm just simply asking the question.
Well, that's the dream. When I say that, that's the dream of all young people that I talk to. The guys at Bible college, we want to plant a church because we don't want. And then they start listening to me all the problems, and I go, "Hey, you haven't talked to a church planter yet, then." Because there's going to be pain one way or the other. The question you asked, would you rather turn the ship or would you rather sink the one you got? Build it from the ground up. I don't know. If God puts me there tomorrow and says, I want you to plant a church somewhere, I'll go, okay, that's God, then